Hey, you made it. I'm so glad you're here. Are you tucked under your blanket, maybe with one leg sticking out because you're a little wild like that? That's the best way to listen, all cozy and warm. Before we start, I want to know something about you. Where are you right now? Are you in your bedroom or maybe on a couch somewhere? And what time is it where you are? Is it late at night or are you sneaking this in during the day? I love hearing your answers. They make me smile when I'm up way too late, like a sleepy raccoon rummaging through the night. Tonight, we're going to talk about something special, why life was brutal for medieval women. So let's settle in, take a deep breath, and drift back to a time when life was really hard, but sleep was like a soft, quiet gift. Picture a world so different from ours. No phones buzzing, no cars zooming, no bright lights keeping you awake. This is medieval Europe, a time hundreds of years ago, around the 1200s and 1300s. It's a world of small villages, dirt paths, and houses made of wood and straw. The air smells like dirt and smoke, and everything feels slower, like the world is taking its time. But for women, life was tough, really tough. They worked from the moment the sun came up until the stars twinkled in the sky. Their hands were busy all day, doing things like making food, taking care of animals, and keeping their families warm. It was a hard life, but there were little moments of peace, like when they finally got to lie down and rest. Let's step into that world, nice and slow, and see what it was like. Imagine you're walking through a village. The houses are small, with roofs made of straw tied together to keep out the rain. The paths are dirt, and when it rains, they turn into sticky mud that grabs at your shoes. There's a smell in the air, earthy, like wet grass, mixed with the smoky scent of fires burning in every house. You hear chickens clucking, a cow mooing softly, and maybe a dog barking in the distance. The village is alive, but it's quiet, like everyone's focused on their work. Most people here are peasants, which means they're not rich or fancy. They're regular people who work hard to grow food and live on the land. Women in this village have a lot to do. They wake up early, before the sun is even up. Their houses are simple, just one big room where everyone eats, works, and sleeps. The floor is made of dirt, packed down from years of walking on it. There's a fireplace in the middle, and smoke curls up to a hole in the roof. The women light the fire first thing in the morning, blowing on the embers to make them glow. The fire is important. It cooks food, keeps the house warm, and gives a little light when it gets dark. It's a small thing, but it makes the house feel like home. Let's think about a woman named Beatrice. She's a peasant, like most women in the village. She's not tall, but her hands are strong from all the work she does. Her hair is tucked under a cloth cap, and she wears a long dress made of rough wool. It's not pretty like dresses today, but it's warm, and that's what matters. Beatrice is kind, and she hums a little tune as she works, even when she's tired. Her life is full of chores, but she finds ways to make it feel okay, like smiling at her kids or petting the cow when she milks it. The day starts early for Beatrice. The rooster crows loud and sharp, waking everyone up. She gets out of bed, a pile of straw covered with a scratchy blanket. It's not soft like our beds, but it's cozy in its own way. The air is cold, and she can see her breath like little clouds in the morning chill. She pulls on her dress and ties her apron, ready to start the day. Her kids are still sleeping, curled up together like puppies, and she lets them rest a little longer. The village is quiet, but it's starting to wake up, with the sound of buckets clanging and animals stirring. One of Beatrice's big jobs is making food. There are no stores to buy bread or snacks. If she wants food, she has to make it herself. She starts with grain like wheat or barley. She takes a big stone called a quern and grinds the grain into flour. It's hard work. Her arms get tired as she turns the stone, and it takes a long time to make enough flour for bread. But she keeps going because that flour will feed her family. When the flour is ready, she mixes it with water and a little salt, kneading it into dough. Later, she'll bake it over the fire, and the smell of fresh bread will fill the house. It's a small thing, but it makes her happy. After making flour, Beatrice goes to the garden. Every house has a little patch of dirt where they grow vegetables like cabbages, onions, and carrots. She kneels in the dirt, pulling weeds and checking the plants. The garden is important. It's where most of their food comes from. If the plants don't grow, the family might go hungry in the winter. Beatrice is careful, picking off bugs and making sure the plants have enough water. The sun is getting higher now, warming her face, and she feels a little less tired when she sees her plants growing strong. Animals are a big part of Beatrice's life too. She has chickens that cluck and peck in the yard, a cow that gives milk, and maybe a pig or two. She feeds the chickens, scattering grain on the ground and laughing when they chase it. The cow, who she calls Old Bess, needs milking every morning. Beatrice sits on a little stool and pulls gently on the cow's udder. The milk splashes into a wooden bucket, warm and foamy. It's a slow job, but she likes it. The cow is calm, chewing her cud, and Beatrice talks to her sometimes, telling her about the day. It's a quiet moment, just her and the cow, and it feels peaceful. Water is another big chore. There's no sink in Beatrice's house, no faucet to turn on. If she needs water, she has to walk to the well in the middle of the village. She carries a heavy bucket, and the path is bumpy with rocks and mud. At the well, she lowers a rope and pulls up cold water. The bucket is heavy, and her arms ache as she carries it back home. She needs water for cooking, washing, and drinking, so she might walk to the well a few times a day. It's hard, but when she splashes the cool water on her face, it feels nice, like a little break from the work. The village is busy now, with everyone doing their jobs. Men are out in the big fields, plowing or planting crops. Women are all over. Some are washing clothes by the river, others are spinning wool into thread. Beatrice sees her friend Agnes by the river, scrubbing a shirt with a stone. They wave to each other and smile. The women help each other when they can, sharing tools or watching each other's kids. It's a hard life, but having friends makes it better. Beatrice feels stronger knowing she's not alone. The seasons are like a big clock for the village. In spring, Beatrice plants seeds and hopes for rain. In summer, she works in the fields, picking crops under the hot sun. Fall is busy, with apples to pick and food to store for winter. Winter is the hardest, cold, dark, and quiet. The family stays inside, close to the fire, and Beatrice mends clothes or tells stories to her kids. Each season has its own jobs, and they all fit together like pieces of a puzzle. Life isn't all work, though. There are happy moments, too. Beatrice loves the smell of bread baking, warm and toasty. She likes hearing her kids laugh as they chase a chicken. Sometimes the village has a party with music and dancing. Everyone gathers to eat and talk, and Beatrice feels warm inside, like the fire in her house. These moments are small, but they're special, like little stars in a dark sky. The lord of the village is a big deal. He owns the land, and Beatrice's family has to give him some of their food, like wheat or eggs. If they don't, he might get mad and take their house. It's not fair, but it's how things work. The lord lives in a big house with soft beds and lots of food. Beatrice doesn't think about him too much. She just does her work and keeps her family safe. Her life is hard, but it's hers, and she's proud of it. Clothes are simple in this time. Beatrice wears a long dress made of wool or linen. It's plain, not fancy, with long sleeves to keep her warm. She ties an apron over it to keep it clean while she works. Her shoes are leather, old and patched from walking on rough paths. She wears a cap to keep her hair out of her face. Everything she wears is made by hand, either by her or someone in the village. Making clothes takes a long time, spinning wool, weaving cloth, sewing dresses. It's another job that keeps her busy. The church is important too. The village has a small church with a wooden cross. On Sundays, Beatrice and her family go there to pray. The priest talks about God and everyone listens quietly. The church is a place to feel safe, to hope for good things like a good harvest or healthy kids. Beatrice prays for her family, asking for them to be strong. She also prays for a little rest because she's so tired. The church is cold, but the candles make it feel warm, and the soft singing makes her heart feel full. Food is simple but good. Most days, Beatrice eats pottage, a thick soup with grains, vegetables, and maybe a bit of meat. She cooks it over the fire, stirring it slowly as it bubbles. Bread is a big part of every meal, crusty and heavy, made from her flour. Sometimes there's cheese or milk from the cow. If the harvest was good, there might be apples or berries. Food isn't fancy, but it fills her up, and it tastes better after a long day of work. Beatrice makes sure her kids eat first, even if she's still hungry. The days are long, and there's no time to sit still. After the garden, Beatrice sweeps the house or mends a shirt. She uses a needle and thread, stitching by the fire's light. If there's time, she spins wool into thread, her fingers moving fast on the spinning wheel. The wheel hums, a soft sound that makes her feel calm. Every job is important, even the small ones. If she doesn't do them, the family won't eat, or the animals will get sick. It's a lot of work, but Beatrice keeps going, one step at a time. The village is like a big family. Everyone knows each other and they help when they can. If Beatrice's cow is sick, her neighbor might bring herbs. If someone's roof leaks, the village might fix it together. The women especially stick together, sharing stories while they work. They laugh about their kids or complain about the mud. It's a hard life, but friends make it better. Beatrice feels strong knowing she's not alone. The weather matters a lot. Too much rain and the crops might rot. Too little rain and the plants won't grow. Beatrice watches the sky, hoping for just the right weather. She can't control it, but she does her best to keep her family safe. In winter, she wraps her kids in blankets. In summer, she makes sure they drink water. The seasons are like a boss, telling everyone what to do. Kids have jobs too. Beatrice's children help in the garden, pulling weeds or carrying water. They feed the chickens and chase birds away from the crops. They're young, but they learn fast because everyone has to help. Beatrice teaches them how to milk the cow or knead bread dough. She's proud when they learn, even if they make mistakes. It's all part of growing up. The nights are very dark. There are no streetlights, no glowing screens. When the sun goes down, the world gets quiet. Beatrice lights a candle or keeps the fire going, but it's not bright like today's lights. The darkness feels big, but it's also cozy. It's like the world is telling everyone to slow down and rest. Beatrice loves when the day's work is done and she can sit by the fire, her hands still for the first time all day. Life for women like Beatrice is brutal because it never stops. There's always something to do: cooking, cleaning, planting, sewing, carrying, caring. Her body gets tired, her hands get rough, and sometimes she wishes for a day to do nothing. But that's not how life works. Still, there's something special about it. The work is hard, but it means something. Every loaf of bread, every bucket of water, every stitch in a shirt is for her family. It's a life of purpose, even if it's exhausting. The village has its own sounds, like a song that plays all day. In the morning, it's roosters and buckets. In the afternoon, it's voices and the thump of an axe. At night, it's the wind, the fire's crackle, and the soft snores of her kids. Beatrice knows these sounds by heart. They make her feel safe, like the world is still okay, even when she's tired. The air smells different too. It's earthy, like dirt and grass mixed with smoke. In spring, it's fresh with flowers. In fall, it's crisp with apples and leaves. Beatrice breathes it in and it feels like home. The air is clean, not like city air today. It's another thing that makes this life hard but good. Time moves differently in the village. There are no clocks, no alarms. The sun and seasons tell Beatrice what to do. When the sun rises, she wakes. When it sets, she rests. The days blend together, each one full of the same chores, but each one a little different too. A new flower might bloom, or a neighbor might share a story. These small changes keep life interesting, even when it's hard. The Lord makes life harder. Beatrice has to give him part of her food, like wheat or eggs. If she doesn't, he might take her house. It's not fair, but she doesn't argue. The Lord has soldiers and they could take everything. So she works hard, gives what she must, and keeps the rest for her family. The church gives Beatrice hope. She believes in God and she feels like he watches over her. When she prays, she feels like someone is listening. The church is a place to rest her mind, even if her body is tired. She prays for her kids, for good weather, for a little less work tomorrow. It's a small thing, but it helps her keep going. The work never ends, but there are moments when Beatrice can pause. Maybe she watches the sunset, the sky turning orange and purple. Maybe she laughs with her kids as they play in the dirt. These moments are like tiny gifts, making the hard days feel worth it. She doesn't have much, but she has enough: a family, a home, a purpose. The village is her world. She doesn't know about faraway places like big cities or other countries. Her life is here in the fields, the garden, the house. It's a small world, but it's full of meaning. Every day she wakes up and does it all again. The work is brutal, but it keeps her family alive. She's strong, even when she feels tired. As the sun starts to sink, the village gets quieter. The chickens settle down, the cow stops mooing, and the kids' voices fade. Beatrice's day isn't over. She still has to cook supper, sweep the floor, maybe mend a sock. But the end is coming, and that makes her feel calm. The world is slowing down, getting ready for night. The stars will come out soon, and the darkness will wrap the village in a soft, quiet hug. This is the world we're stepping into tonight, a world where life was brutal for women like Beatrice, but where sleep was a quiet gift. They worked hard from sunrise to sunset with no machines to help. They made everything with their hands, from bread to clothes to homes. It was a tough life, but it had its own kind of beauty: the smell of fresh bread, the warmth of a fire, the sound of a child's laugh. These women were strong even when they felt weak. They kept going day after day, finding peace in the small moments. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, let's drift into this world together. Imagine the village, the dirt paths, the smoky air. Picture Beatrice working hard but finding moments to smile. Her life was hard, but it was hers, and she made it work. Let's keep going nice and slow as we learn more about her world, her work, and the quiet moments that made it all okay. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let the story carry you away. Close your eyes for a moment and picture a world so different from today. No cars, no phones, no lights that turn on with a switch. Instead, imagine a little village made of small houses with roofs made of straw. The paths between the houses are dirt, and when it rains, they turn into sticky mud that clings to your shoes. This is medieval Europe, a time hundreds of years ago, way back in the 1200s and 1300s. Life was slow, hard, and full of work, especially for women. But even in the hardest days, there was something soft and peaceful about it, like a warm blanket at the end of a long day. Let's walk into this world together, step by step, and see what it was like. The village is small, maybe just a few dozen houses huddled together. Each house is made of wood and mud, with a roof of straw tied tightly to keep out the rain. Inside, there's usually just one big room where everyone eats, works, and sleeps. The floor is dirt, packed hard from years of footsteps. There's a fireplace in the middle, and its smoke curls up to a hole in the roof. The air smells like earth, smoke, and sometimes the animals that live close by. The chickens cluck outside, and a cow might be tied up in a corner of the house, chewing quietly. Life here is simple, but it's not easy. Every day is full of things to do, and women do so much of the work. Most women in this village are peasants. That means they're not rich or fancy. They're regular people who work the land to live. They don't own the land. A lord, who's like a boss of the village, owns it. The women and their families grow food, take care of animals, and make things to give to the lord. In return, the lord lets them live on the land and keep some of the food they grow. It's a deal, but it's a hard one. The women wake up when the sky is still dark, and they work until the stars come out. Their hands are rough from pulling weeds, carrying water, and scrubbing pots. Their backs ache from bending over in the fields, but they keep going because that's what life is. Let's imagine a typical day. The sun is just starting to peek over the hills, turning the sky pink and soft. The air is cool, and a little fog sits low on the ground like a blanket over the grass. The village is quiet, except for the roosters crowing to wake everyone up. A woman, let's call her Beatrice, gets out of bed. Her bed isn't like ours. It's a pile of straw covered with a rough blanket made of wool. It's scratchy, but it's warm, and after a long day, it feels good to lie down on it. Beatrice stretches her arms and yawns. She can see her breath in the cold morning air. Her house is small, with a dirt floor and a wooden bench. There's a pot by the fire and a few wooden bowls stacked in a corner. Everything she owns is simple, but it's enough. Beatrice's day starts with lighting the fire. She kneels by the fireplace and blows gently on the embers from last night's fire. A tiny spark grows into a small flame, and she adds sticks to keep it going. The fire is important. It cooks food, keeps the house warm, and gives light when the sun goes down. She moves slowly, her hands steady, because she's done this every morning for years. The fire crackles, and the room starts to feel cozy. Outside, the village is waking up too. She hears the clink of buckets as someone heads to the well, and the soft moo of a cow waiting to be milked. It's a quiet, sleepy start to the day, but there's so much to do. Women like Beatrice have a lot of jobs. One of the biggest is getting food ready. In medieval times, there are no grocery stores. If you want bread, you have to make it yourself. That starts with grain like wheat or barley. Beatrice takes a big stone called a quern and grinds the grain into flour. It's slow work. She pours the grain into the quern and turns the top stone with her hands. It creaks and grinds, and little by little, the grain turns into soft flour. Her arms get tired, but she keeps going. The flour will become bread, and that bread will feed her family. It's hard, but it's important, and she knows it. After grinding grain, Beatrice heads outside to the garden. Every house has a small patch of dirt where they grow food, things like cabbages, onions, and herbs. She kneels in the dirt and pulls weeds, her fingers cold from the morning dew. The garden is small, but it's like a treasure chest. The food she grows here keeps her family strong through the winter. She checks the plants, picking off bugs or tying up a drooping stem. The sun is higher now, warming her back, and the village feels alive with sounds. Children laughing, dogs barking, and the clop of a horse's hooves on the path. Another big job is taking care of animals. Beatrice has chickens, a cow, and maybe a few pigs. The chickens need to be fed, and she scatters grain for them, watching them peck and cluck. The cow needs milking, so she sits on a small stool and pulls gently on the cow's udder. The milk splashes into a wooden bucket, warm and frothy. It's a slow, steady job, and the cow chews her cud, calm and quiet. Beatrice talks to the cow sometimes, calling her Old Bess and telling her about the day. It's silly, but it makes the work feel less lonely. The animals are like part of the family. They give milk, eggs, and sometimes meat, and Beatrice takes good care of them. Water is another chore. There's no sink or faucet in Beatrice's house. If she needs water, she has to walk to the well in the middle of the village. She carries a heavy wooden bucket, and the path is bumpy with rocks and mud. At the well, she lowers a rope and pulls up cold, clear water. The bucket is heavy, and her arms strain as she carries it back home. She needs water for cooking, washing, and drinking, so she might make this trip a few times a day. It's tiring, but the cool water feels good when she splashes it on her face after a long morning. The village is busy now, with everyone working. Men are out in the fields, plowing or planting crops. Women are everywhere. Some are washing clothes by the river, others are spinning wool into thread. Beatrice's friend Agnes is at the river scrubbing a shirt with a stone. They wave to each other and share a quick smile. The women help each other when they can, sharing tools or watching each other's kids. It's a hard life, but they're in it together, and that makes it a little easier. The seasons control everything in this world. In spring, Beatrice plants seeds and hopes for good rain. In summer, she works in the fields, harvesting crops under the hot sun. Fall is busy as she picks apples and stores food for winter. Winter is the hardest, cold, dark, and quiet. The family stays inside more, huddled by the fire. Beatrice mends clothes or tells stories to her children to pass the time. Each season has its own jobs, and they all blend together into a rhythm, like a song that never stops. Life isn't just work, though. There are moments of joy, small and simple. Beatrice loves the smell of fresh bread baking in the oven. She likes hearing her children giggle as they chase a chicken. Sometimes the village has a festival and everyone gathers to dance and eat. These moments are like little sparks of light in a hard day. They remind Beatrice that life is tough, but it's also good. She finds peace in the small things, the way the sun warms the grass, or the sound of the wind rustling the trees. The lord of the village is always there, though, like a shadow. Beatrice and her family have to give him part of their crops, like wheat or apples. Sometimes they give him eggs or a chicken. If they don't, the lord might take their land or punish them. It's not fair, but it's how things work. Beatrice doesn't think about it too much. She just does her work and keeps her family fed. The lord lives in a big house, far fancier than her little cottage. He has soft beds and warm fires, but Beatrice doesn't envy him. Her life is hard, but it's hers, and she's proud of it. Clothes are simple in this time. Beatrice wears a long dress made of wool or linen. It's not pretty like dresses today, it's plain, with long sleeves to keep her warm. Over it, she ties an apron to keep it clean while she works. Her shoes are leather, worn and patched from years of walking. She has a cap to cover her hair, keeping it out of her face while she works. Everything she wears is made by hand, either by her or someone in the village. Making clothes takes time, spinning wool into thread, weaving thread into cloth, and sewing it into a dress. It's another job that never ends. The church is a big part of life too. The village has a small church with a wooden cross on top. On Sundays, Beatrice and her family walk there to pray. The priest tells stories from the Bible, and everyone listens quietly. The church is a place to feel safe, to hope for good things like a good harvest or a healthy family. Beatrice prays for her children, asking for them to grow strong. She also prays for rest because her body is so tired. The church is cold, but the candles make it feel warm, and the soft voices of the villagers singing make her heart feel full. Food is simple but important. Most days, Beatrice eats pottage, a thick soup made of grains, vegetables, and sometimes a bit of meat. She cooks it in a big pot over the fire, stirring it slowly as it bubbles. Bread is a big part of every meal, crusty and heavy, made from the flour she ground herself. Sometimes there's cheese or milk from the cow. If the harvest was good, there might be apples or berries. Food isn't fancy, but it fills the belly, and it tastes better when you've worked hard all day. Beatrice makes sure her children eat first, even if it means she goes a little hungry. The days are long, and there's no time to sit still. After the garden, Beatrice might sweep the house or mend a torn shirt. She uses a needle and thread, stitching carefully by the light of the fire. If there's time, she spins wool into thread, her fingers moving fast on the spinning wheel. The wheel hums, a soft, steady sound that makes her feel calm. Every job is important, even the small ones. If she doesn't do them, the family won't eat, or the animals will get sick. It's a lot of work, but Beatrice doesn't complain. She just keeps going, one task at a time. The village is like a big family. Everyone knows each other and they help when they can. If Beatrice's cow is sick, her neighbor might bring over some herbs. If someone's house needs a new roof, the whole village might work together to fix it. The women especially stick together. They share stories while they work, laughing about their kids or complaining about the mud. It's a hard life, but having friends makes it better. Beatrice feels strong knowing she's not alone. The weather is a big deal in this world. If it rains too much, the crops might rot. If it's too dry, the plants won't grow. Beatrice watches the sky every day, hoping for just the right amount of sun and rain. She can't control the weather, but she does her best to keep her family safe. In winter, she wraps her children in extra blankets. In summer, she makes sure they drink enough water. The seasons are like a boss, telling everyone what to do and when. Kids have jobs too. Beatrice's children help in the garden, picking weeds or carrying small buckets of water. They feed the chickens and chase away birds that try to eat the crops. They're young, but they learn fast because everyone has to help. Beatrice teaches them how to do things right, how to milk the cow without scaring her, or how to knead bread dough until it's just right. She's proud when they learn, even if they make mistakes sometimes. It's all part of growing up. The nights are dark, really dark. There are no streetlights, no glowing screens. When the sun goes down, the world gets quiet. Beatrice lights a candle or keeps the fire going, but it's not bright like today's lights. The darkness feels big, but it's also kind of cozy. It's like the world is telling everyone to slow down, to rest. Beatrice loves the moment when the day's work is done and she can sit by the fire, her hands still for the first time all day. Life for women like Beatrice is brutal because it never stops. There's always something to do: cooking, cleaning, planting, sewing, carrying, caring. Her body gets tired, her hands get rough, and sometimes she wishes for a day to just sit and do nothing. But that's not how life works in the village. Still, there's something special about it. The work is hard, but it means something. Every loaf of bread, every bucket of water, every stitch in a shirt is for her family. It's a life of purpose, even if it's exhausting. The village has its own sounds, like a song that plays all day. In the morning, it's roosters and the clink of buckets. In the afternoon, it's the hum of voices and the thump of an axe chopping wood. At night, it's the wind, the crackle of the fire, and the soft snores of sleeping children. Beatrice knows these sounds by heart. They make her feel safe, like the world is still turning, even when she's tired. The air in the village is different too. It smells like dirt, grass, and smoke. In the spring, it's fresh with flowers. In the fall, it's crisp with the scent of apples and leaves. Beatrice breathes it in and it feels like home. The air is clean, not like the city air today, full of car fumes. It's another thing that makes this life hard but good. Time moves differently in the village. There are no clocks ticking, no alarms buzzing. The sun and the seasons tell Beatrice what to do. When the sun rises, she wakes. When it sets, she rests. The days blend together, each one full of the same chores, but each one a little different too. A new flower might bloom, or a neighbor might share a story. These small changes keep life interesting, even when it's hard. The Lord's rules make life harder sometimes. Beatrice has to give him part of everything she grows or makes. If she bakes bread, a loaf might go to the Lord. If she milks the cow, some of the milk is his. It feels unfair, but she doesn't argue. The Lord has soldiers, and they could take everything if she doesn't obey. So she works hard, gives what she must, and keeps the rest for her family. The church gives Beatrice hope. She believes in God and she believes He watches over her. When she prays, she feels like someone is listening. The church is a place where she can rest her mind, even if her body is still tired. It's a place to think about something bigger than the daily grind of work. She prays for her children, for good weather, for a little less work tomorrow. It's a small thing, but it helps her keep going. The work never really ends, but there are moments when Beatrice can pause. Maybe she sits for a minute to watch the sunset, the sky turning orange and purple. Maybe she laughs with her kids as they play in the dirt. These moments are like tiny gifts, making the hard days feel worth it. She doesn't have much, but she has enough: a family, a home, a purpose. The village is her world. She doesn't know much about faraway places like big cities or other countries. Her life is here in the fields, the garden, the house. It's a small world, but it's full of meaning. Every day she wakes up and does it all again. The work is brutal, but it's also what keeps her family alive. She's strong even when she feels tired, and she knows it. As the sun starts to sink, the village gets quieter. The chickens settle down, the cow stops mooing, and the children's voices fade. Beatrice's day isn't over yet. She still has to cook supper, sweep the floor, maybe mend a sock. But the end is coming, and that makes her feel calm. The world is slowing down, getting ready for night. The stars will come out soon, and the darkness will wrap the village in a soft, quiet hug. Life in medieval times was so different from today. For women like Beatrice, it was a life of endless work, tied to the land and the seasons. They didn't have machines to help or stores to buy things from. Everything they needed, they made with their own hands. It was a brutal life with long days and tired bodies. But there was beauty in it too: the smell of fresh bread, the warmth of a fire, the sound of a child's laugh. These women were strong, even when they felt weak. They kept going day after day, finding peace in the small moments. So as the sun dips lower and the sky turns dark, let's leave Beatrice for now. Her day is winding down and soon she'll rest. But her world is still alive, full of sounds and smells and simple joys. Let's step closer to her life slowly as the day fades into night. There's more to see, more to learn about how she lived, worked, and found moments of calm in a hard, hard world. Let's meet Beatrice, a woman who lives in a small village in medieval Europe, a time long ago, around the 1200s or 1300s. Her life is hard, full of work from morning to night, but she's kind and strong in her own quiet way. Picture a little village with houses made of wood and mud, their roofs covered in straw to keep out the rain. The paths are dirt, and when it rains, they turn into sticky mud that clings to your feet. The air smells like earth, smoke, and animals, and the village is full of soft sounds: chickens clucking, a cow mooing, or the wind rustling the trees. This is Beatrice's world, and she's a big part of it, even if she's just a regular peasant woman. Beatrice isn't tall, but she's sturdy, like a tree that's been through many storms. Her hands are strong from years of hard work, carrying heavy buckets, pulling weeds, and kneading dough for bread. Her fingers are rough, with little cracks from working in the cold or digging in the dirt. She doesn't mind, though. Her hands are like tools, helping her take care of her family and keep her little house running. She's proud of what they can do, even if they're not soft or pretty like a rich lady's hands. Her hair is long and brown, but you wouldn't know it because it's always tucked under a worn linen cap. The cap is plain, a soft gray color tied under her chin to keep it in place. It's not fancy, but it keeps her hair out of her face when she's working. Sometimes a few strands slip out, and she brushes them back with a quick swipe of her hand. Her cap is old, with a few patches where she's sewn it to fix holes. It's been with her a long time, like an old friend who's always there. Beatrice's face is kind, with eyes that crinkle at the corners when she smiles. She doesn't laugh a lot, life is too busy for that, but when she does, it's warm, like the sun peeking through clouds. Her laugh is soft, almost like a hum, and it makes everyone around her feel a little happier. Maybe she's laughing because her son tripped over a chicken and giggled, or because her friend Agnes told a silly story about a goat. Those moments are rare, but they're special, like little treasures she keeps in her heart. She wears a long dress made of rough wool or linen. It's not colorful like clothes today. It's a plain brown or gray, the color of dirt or tree bark. The dress is long, reaching her ankles, with sleeves that cover her arms to keep her warm. It's not tight or fancy, it's loose so she can move easily while she works. Over her dress, she ties an apron, a big piece of cloth that protects her clothes from mud, flour, or milk. The apron is stained from years of use, but Beatrice doesn't care. It does its job, and that's enough. Her shoes are simple too, made of leather that's worn and soft from walking on rough paths. They're not shiny or new, they've been patched many times with bits of leather sewn on to cover holes. Walking in the village is hard, with rocks and mud everywhere, so her shoes are tough, just like her. She doesn't have many clothes, maybe just 1 or 2 dresses and an extra apron. Everything is made by hand, either by her or someone in the village. Making clothes takes a long time, spinning wool into thread, weaving thread into cloth, and sewing it all together. It's another job on her long list. Beatrice is kind, the kind of person who makes you feel safe. She's always helping someone, whether it's her kids, her neighbors, or even the animals. If a neighbor's cow is sick, she might bring over some herbs from her garden. If a child is crying, she'll kneel down and wipe their tears with her apron. She doesn't have much to give, but she gives what she can: a smile, a handful of berries, or a few kind words. Her kindness is like a warm fire on a cold night, making everything feel a little better. She's always humming a soft tune as she works. It's not a fancy song, just a simple melody she's known since she was a girl. Maybe her mother taught it to her, or maybe she heard it at a village festival. The tune is gentle like a lullaby, and it follows her through the day. She hums while she milks the cow, stirs the soup, or sweeps the floor. It's her way of keeping going even when she's tired. The sound is so soft that sometimes her kids don't even notice it, but it's there, like the wind rustling the leaves. Beatrice is tired a lot. Her days start before the sun rises and end long after it sets. She wakes up in the dark when the air is cold and her breath makes little clouds. Her bed is a pile of straw covered with a scratchy wool blanket. It's not soft like our beds, but it's warm, and after a long day, it feels like the coziest place in the world. She dreams of the moment she can lie down and let the world go quiet. That's her favorite part of the day, when the work is done, the fire is low, and she can close her eyes and rest. Her house is small, just 1 room made of wood and mud. The walls are thick to keep out the wind, but there are still cracks where the cold sneaks in. The roof is straw, tied tightly to keep out the rain. Inside, the floor is dirt, packed hard from years of footsteps. There's a fireplace in the middle with a pot hanging over it for cooking. The fire is the heart of the house. It keeps everyone warm, cooks their food, and gives light when the sun goes down. Beatrice spends a lot of time by that fire, stirring soup or drying wet clothes. Her family is her world. She has a husband who works in the fields, planting crops or fixing tools. They don't talk a lot, there's too much work for that, but they understand each other. He's strong and quiet, and he trusts Beatrice to keep the house running. She has 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl, who are always running around, getting muddy or chasing chickens. They're loud and messy, but Beatrice loves them more than anything. They sleep close to her at night, curled up on the straw mattress, their small bodies warm and wiggly. Sometimes the dog sneaks in too, curling up at her feet, and even the cow in the corner of the house makes soft noises as it sleeps. The village is small, with maybe a dozen houses clustered together. Everyone knows each other like a big family. Beatrice's neighbors are her friends, and they help each other out. If Beatrice needs a bucket, her neighbor might lend her one. If someone's baby is sick, Beatrice might bring a handful of herbs or a bowl of warm soup. The women especially stick together, sharing stories while they work. They laugh about their kids or complain about the mud, and it makes the hard days feel a little lighter. Beatrice feels strong knowing she's not alone. Her life is full of chores, and they never really stop. In the morning, she lights the fire and milks the cow. Then she grinds grain into flour using a heavy stone called a quern. It's hard work, her arms ache as she turns the stone, but she keeps going because the flour will become bread. After that, she checks the garden, pulling weeds or picking vegetables. She carries water from the well, a heavy bucket that makes her shoulders hurt. She sweeps the house, mends clothes, and feeds the chickens. Every job is important, and Beatrice does them all, one by one, with her steady hands and quiet hum. The seasons shape her life. In spring, she plants seeds in the garden, hoping for good rain. In summer, she works in the fields, picking crops under the hot sun. Fall is busy, with apples to pick and food to store for winter. Winter is the hardest, cold, dark, and quiet. The family stays inside, close to the fire, and Beatrice mends clothes or tells stories to her kids. Each season has its own jobs, and they all fit together like a song that never ends. Beatrice's days are long, but there are moments of joy. She loves the smell of fresh bread baking over the fire. She likes watching her kids play, their laughter filling the air. Sometimes the village has a festival with music and dancing. Everyone gathers to eat and talk, and Beatrice feels warm inside, like she's part of something bigger. These moments are small, but they're like little sparks of light in a hard day. The lord of the village is a big part of life, but not in a good way. He owns the land, and Beatrice's family has to give him some of their food, wheat, eggs, or even a chicken. If they don't, he might get mad and take their house. It's not fair, but Beatrice doesn't argue. She just works hard and gives what she must. The lord lives in a big house with soft beds and lots of food. Beatrice doesn't envy him though. Her life is hard, but it's hers, and she's proud of it. The church is important to Beatrice. The village has a small church with a wooden cross. On Sundays, she and her family walk there to pray. The priest talks about God and everyone listens quietly. The church is a place to feel safe, to hope for good things like a good harvest or healthy kids. Beatrice prays for her family, asking for them to be strong. She also prays for rest because her body is so tired. The church is cold, but the candles make it feel warm, and the soft singing makes her heart feel full. Food is simple but good. Most days, Beatrice eats pottage, a thick soup with grains, vegetables, and maybe a bit of meat. She cooks it over the fire, stirring it slowly as it bubbles. Bread is a big part of every meal, crusty and heavy, made from her flour. Sometimes there's cheese or milk from the cow. If the harvest was good, there might be apples or berries. Food isn't fancy, but it fills her up, and it tastes better after a long day of work. Beatrice makes sure her kids eat first, even if she's still hungry. Beatrice's life is brutal because it's so full of work. From the moment she wakes up, she's busy cooking, cleaning, planting, sewing, carrying, caring. Her body gets tired, her hands get rough, and sometimes she wishes for a day to do nothing. But that's not how life works in the village. Still, there's something special about it. Every loaf of bread, every bucket of water, every stitch in a shirt is for her family. It's a life of purpose, even if it's exhausting. She finds peace in small things. The way the sun warms the grass in the morning, the sound of her kids laughing as they chase a chicken, the smell of the fire at night crackling softly as the world gets quiet. These moments are like little hugs from the world, reminding her that life is hard but good. Beatrice keeps going day after day because she has to and because she wants to. Her family needs her, and that makes her strong. The village has its own sounds, like a song that plays all day. In the morning, it's roosters crowing and buckets clanging. In the afternoon, it's voices talking and the thump of an axe chopping wood. At night, it's the wind, the fire's crackle, and the soft snores of her kids. Beatrice knows these sounds by heart. They make her feel safe, like the world is still okay, even when she's tired. The air smells different too. It's earthy, like dirt and grass mixed with smoke from the fire. In spring, it's fresh with flowers. In fall, it's crisp with apples and leaves. Beatrice breathes it in and it feels like home. The air is clean, not like city air today. It's another thing that makes her life hard but good. Time moves differently in the village. There are no clocks, no alarms. The sun and seasons tell Beatrice what to do. When the sun rises, she wakes. When it sets, she rests. The days blend together, each one full of the same chores, but each one a little different too. A new flower might bloom, or a neighbor might share a story. These small changes keep life interesting, even when it's hard. Beatrice's life is small, but it's full of meaning. She doesn't know about faraway places like big cities or other countries. Her world is the village, the fields, the garden, the house. She works hard to keep it going, and she's proud of what she does. Every day she wakes up and does it all again. The work is brutal, but it's for her family, and that makes it worth it. As the sun starts to set, the village gets quieter. The chickens settle down, the cow stops mooing, and the kids' voices fade. Beatrice's day isn't over. She still has to cook supper, sweep the floor, maybe mend a sock. But the end is coming, and that makes her feel calm. The world is slowing down, getting ready for night. The stars will come out soon, and the darkness will wrap the village in a soft, quiet hug. Beatrice is just one woman, but she's like so many others in her time. Her life is hard, full of work that never stops. But she's strong, kind, and full of love for her family. She hums her soft tune, carries her heavy buckets, and keeps going day after day. She dreams of the moment she can lie down on her straw bed and let the world go quiet. That's her gift at the end of a long day's sleep, simple and peaceful, waiting for her like an old friend. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice in her little house. See her strong hands, her kind eyes, her worn cap. Hear her soft hum as she works. Her life is brutal, but it's hers, and she makes it work. Let's keep going nice and slow as we learn more about her world, her work, and the quiet moments that make it all okay. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The village is still dark, wrapped in the quiet of night. The stars are fading, and the sky is just starting to turn a soft gray. Then, loud and sharp, a rooster crows, breaking the silence like a bell. It's early, so early the sun hasn't even thought about rising yet. In her small house, Beatrice stirs on her straw mattress. The straw crinkles under her, poking through the rough wool blanket she's pulled over herself. The air is cold, sneaking through cracks in the wooden walls like a chilly breeze. She can see her breath, little puffs of white in the dim light, and she pulls her cloak tighter around her shoulders. It's scratchy but warm, and it helps her feel ready to face the day. Her morning begins slowly, with simple tasks that fill her world with a gentle rhythm, like a lullaby you don't even notice you're hearing. Beatrice lies still for a moment, listening to the sounds around her. The rooster crows again, and another one answers from across the village. Her kids are still asleep, curled up together on the straw mattress like a pile of puppies. Their soft breathing mixes with the faint snuffle of the cow in the corner of the house. The dog, curled up near her feet, twitches in his sleep, maybe dreaming of chasing a chicken. The house is quiet, but it's starting to wake up, just like the village outside. Beatrice takes a deep breath, the cold air filling her lungs, and she knows it's time to start her day. She sits up slowly, her body a little stiff from the hard mattress. The straw crunches as she moves, and she brushes a few stray bits off her dress. Her dress is plain, made of rough wool, and it's the same one she wears every day. It's brown like the dirt outside, and it's long, covering her ankles to keep her warm. She ties her linen cap over her hair, tucking the strands under it so they won't get in her way. Her hands move quickly, used to this routine, and she's ready in just a moment. The house is dark, with only a faint glow from the embers in the fireplace. It's time to bring it to life. Beatrice's first job is to start the fire. She kneels by the fireplace, a small pit in the middle of the dirt floor. The embers from last night are still there, glowing faintly like tiny stars in a pile of ash. She blows gently, her breath making the embers flare up. A spark catches, and she adds a few small sticks, watching as they start to burn. The fire crackles, a soft, friendly sound, and the room gets a little warmer. She adds more wood carefully so the fire grows strong but doesn't smoke too much. The smoke curls up to a hole in the straw roof, drifting out into the cold morning air. The fire is the heart of the house. It will cook their food, keep them warm, and light their way when the sun goes down. Beatrice smiles, a little happy to see the flames dancing. With the fire going, she steps outside to feed the chickens. The air is chilly and the grass is wet with dew, sticking to her leather shoes. The chickens are already awake, clucking and scratching in the dirt near the house. Beatrice grabs a handful of grain from a sack and scatters it on the ground. The chickens rush over, their little feet pattering as they peck at the grain. She laughs softly when one chicken, a fluffy brown one, pushes another out of the way to get more. "Greedy girl," she whispers, her voice kind. Feeding the chickens is a small job, but it's important. They give eggs and sometimes meat, and Beatrice takes good care of them. Next, she heads to the cow, who's tied up in the corner of the house. The cow, Old Bess, looks at her with big, calm eyes, chewing her cud. Beatrice pats her side, feeling the warmth of the animal's body. She grabs a wooden stool and a bucket, sitting down to milk. Her hands are steady as she pulls gently on the cow's udder. The milk splashes into the bucket, warm and frothy, making a soft, rhythmic sound, plink, plink, plink. It's a slow job, but Beatrice likes it. The cow is quiet, and the steady pull of milking feels like a little break. She hums a soft tune, the same one she always hums, and Old Bess seems to listen, her ears twitching. When the bucket is full, Beatrice pats the cow again, saying, "Good girl, Bess." The milk will be used for drinking, making cheese, or cooking, and it's another way Beatrice keeps her family fed. The village is waking up now, and Beatrice hears it coming to life. Across the dirt path, her neighbor is banging a wooden bucket as he heads to the well. A dog barks somewhere, sharp and quick, then quiets down. The low moo of another cow echoes from a nearby house, and the clatter of pots means someone's starting to cook. It's a simple, repetitive sound, like a song the village sings every morning. Beatrice listens as she works, feeling like she's part of something bigger. The village is small, but it's alive, and everyone has a job to do. Back inside, Beatrice checks on her kids. They're starting to wake up, rubbing their eyes and yawning. The youngest, a little girl named Ella, stretches and mumbles something about a dream. Beatrice smiles and brushes a strand of hair from Ella's face. "Time to get up," she says softly, her voice gentle like a whisper. The kids will help with small chores soon, feeding the chickens or carrying water, but for now she lets them wake up slowly. The house is warmer now thanks to the fire, and the smell of smoke mixes with the earthy scent of the dirt floor. It's not a fancy house, but it's home, and Beatrice loves it. Her next job is to get water. There's no sink in the house, no faucet to turn on. If she needs water, she has to walk to the well in the middle of the village. She grabs a heavy wooden bucket and steps outside again. The path is bumpy with rocks and patches of mud that stick to her shoes. The well is a big stone circle with a rope tied to a wooden bar. Beatrice lowers the rope and pulls up a bucket of cold, clear water. It's heavy, and her arms strain as she carries it back to the house. She needs water for cooking, washing, and drinking, so she'll probably make this trip a few times today. The cold water sloshes in the bucket, and a few drops spill onto her apron. She doesn't mind, it's just part of the morning. Back at the house, Beatrice starts making breakfast. Most days, the family eats pottage, a thick soup made of grains, vegetables, and whatever else she has. She pours water into a pot and hangs it over the fire. Then she adds barley, some onions from the garden, and a pinch of herbs. The pot starts to bubble, and the smell fills the house, warm and comforting. She stirs it slowly with a wooden spoon, her hands steady from years of practice. The kids are up now, sitting on the dirt floor, watching her work. They're hungry, and Beatrice makes sure there's enough for everyone, even if it means she eats less. While the pottage cooks, Beatrice sweeps the floor. The dirt floor gets messy fast, with bits of straw, crumbs, and mud from everyone's shoes. She uses a broom made of twigs tied together, sweeping in slow, careful strokes. The broom scratches against the floor, a soft sound that blends with the crackle of the fire. It's a small job, but it makes the house feel clean and cozy. Beatrice likes things tidy, even if the house is simple. It's her way of making it a good place for her family. The village is fully awake now, and Beatrice can hear it outside. A horse clops by, pulling a cart full of hay. Someone shouts a greeting, and a child laughs, running after a dog. The sounds are familiar, like a song she knows by heart. Beatrice steps outside for a moment just to feel the morning air. The sky is lighter now, a soft pink spreading over the hills. The grass is still wet with dew, and the air smells fresh, like earth and growing things. It's a new day, and Beatrice feels ready, even if she's already a little tired. Her next job is to check the garden. Every house has a small patch of dirt where they grow food: cabbages, carrots, onions, and herbs. Beatrice kneels in the dirt, her hands pulling weeds that have popped up overnight. The weeds are stubborn, their roots clinging to the soil, but she's stronger. She tugs them out one by one, making a little pile beside her. The garden is important, it's where most of their food comes from. If the plants don't grow, the family might go hungry in the winter. Beatrice checks each plant, making sure they're healthy. She brushes off a bug from a cabbage leaf and ties up a drooping herb with a bit of string. The sun is higher now, warming her back, and she feels a little glow of pride seeing her garden grow. The kids are outside now, helping with small jobs. Ella scatters grain for the chickens, giggling when they peck at her toes. The boys, Tom and Will, carry small buckets of water from the well, their steps wobbly under the weight. Beatrice watches them, making sure they don't spill too much. "Good job," she says, her voice soft but proud. The kids are young, but they learn fast because everyone in the village has to help. Beatrice teaches them how to do things right, how to hold the bucket so it doesn't tip, or how to scatter grain evenly for the chickens. They make mistakes sometimes, but she's patient. It's all part of growing up. The morning is moving along, and Beatrice has more to do. She goes back inside to check the pottage. It's bubbling nicely now, and the smell makes her stomach rumble. She adds a little more water and stirs, watching the fire to make sure it doesn't get too big. The fire is tricky, it needs to be just right, not too hot or too small. Beatrice knows how to handle it though. She's been doing this since she was a girl, learning from her own mother. The pot hums with heat, and the steam rises, making the room feel cozy. Outside, the village is busy. Beatrice hears her neighbor Agnes calling to her own kids, telling them to stop chasing the pigs. A man walks by with a bundle of sticks, heading to the fields. The clatter of wooden buckets and the low moo of cattle fill the air. It's a simple, repetitive sound, and it makes Beatrice feel like everything's okay. The village is like a big family, everyone working together to keep it going. Beatrice waves to Agnes, who's carrying a basket of wet clothes from the river. They don't talk much, there's too much to do, but their smiles say enough. Beatrice's next job is to milk the cow again. Old Bess is ready, her udder full from grazing yesterday. Beatrice sits on her stool, the bucket between her knees, and starts milking. The milk splashes into the bucket, steady and rhythmic like a soft drum beat. She hums her tune again, the one she always hums, and it mixes with the sound of the milk. Old Bess chews her cud, calm and quiet, and Beatrice feels a little peace in this moment. It's just her and the cow, working together in the quiet morning. The sun is fully up now, painting the village with soft golden light. The straw roofs glow and the dirt paths look warm and inviting. Beatrice steps outside to check on the chickens again. One of them has laid an egg and she picks it up carefully, feeling its smooth warmth in her hand. Eggs are precious. They can be eaten, traded, or given to the Lord as part of the rent. Beatrice tucks the egg in her apron pocket, making sure it's safe. The chickens cluck happily, and she scatters a little more grain to keep them busy. Back inside, the pottage is ready. Beatrice calls the kids, who come running, their faces smudged with dirt. They sit on the dirt floor and she spoons the warm soup into wooden bowls. There's bread too, crusty and heavy, made from the flour she ground yesterday. The kids eat quickly, hungry from their morning play. Beatrice eats a small bowl, savoring the warm, earthy taste. It's simple food, but it fills her up, and it feels like a reward for her morning work. The morning is almost over, but Beatrice's work is. She has to sweep the floor again because the kids tracked in more mud. She checks the garden one more time, making sure no weeds snuck back in. She carries another bucket of water from the well, her arms strong but tired. The village is in full swing now, with everyone busy at their own tasks. Men are in the fields, plowing or planting. Women are washing clothes, spinning wool, or cooking. The kids are running around, helping or playing. It's a busy, noisy world, but it's also calm in its own way, like a song that everyone knows the words to. Beatrice takes a moment to rest, just for a second. She leans against the door of her house, feeling the sun on her face. The air is warmer now, and the smell of grass and smoke fills her nose. She closes her eyes, listening to the village, the cluck of chickens, the thud of an axe, the laughter of kids. It's a hard life, but it's hers, and she's proud of it. The morning is just the start, and there's so much more to do. But for now, she lets herself breathe, feeling the rhythm of the day wrap around her like a soft blanket. The morning is simple, repetitive, and somehow soothing. Beatrice's jobs, lighting the fire, feeding the chickens, milking the cow, carrying water, are small, but they're important. They keep her family fed, warm, and safe. The village wakes up slowly, with the clatter of buckets and the moo of cattle, like a lullaby you don't realize you're hearing. Beatrice moves through her tasks with steady hands and a quiet hum, her heart full of love for her family and her home. The day is just beginning, and it will be long and hard, but for now, the morning feels gentle, like a promise of rest to come. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice in her little house. See her lighting the fire, milking the cow, scattering grain for the chickens. Hear the village waking up with its soft sounds and steady rhythm. Her life is brutal, but it's also full of small, quiet moments that make it okay. Let's keep going nice and slow as we follow her through her day, learning more about her world and the work that fills it. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The morning is moving along, and the village is alive with soft sounds, chickens clucking, buckets clanging, and the low hum of voices. Beatrice is in her little house, her hands already busy. She moves through her chores with a gentle, dreamy rhythm, like a slow dance she's done 1,000 times. Each task is small, like a single stitch in a big quilt, but they add up, piling together like stones in a wall. The sun is climbing higher in the sky, warming the straw roofs and the muddy paths. Beatrice's back aches a little, her hands are rough from work, but she keeps going one step at a time. The work never stops, but there's a strange calm in its sameness, like waves lapping gently at the shore. Let's follow her now through the small tasks that fill her day and see how she makes it all work. Beatrice is in the house, standing by a wooden table worn smooth from years of use. She's kneading dough for bread, her hands sinking into the soft, powdery flour. The flour is from grain she ground yesterday, using a heavy stone called a quern. It took a long time, turning the stone until her arms were tired, but now she has a big pile of flour ready to become bread. She pours water into a wooden bowl, adds a pinch of salt, and mixes it with the flour. Her hands push and pull, folding the dough over and over. It's soft and sticky at first, but slowly it turns smooth like a round, warm ball. The work is hard, her fingers ache and her shoulders feel tight, but she likes it. The dough feels alive under her hands, and the thought of fresh bread makes her smile. She hums a soft tune, the same one she always hums as she kneads. The sound is quiet, blending with the crackle of the fire in the fireplace. The fire is burning low, just enough to keep the house warm. Beatrice glances at it, making sure it's okay, then goes back to her dough. She shapes it into a round loaf, patting it gently like she's tucking in a baby. Then she sets it by the fire to rise, covering it with a cloth to keep it warm. The bread won't be ready for a while, but that's okay. Beatrice knows how to wait. She's used to doing things slowly, one step at a time. With the dough resting, Beatrice heads outside to the garden. The garden is a small patch of dirt next to her house, full of vegetables like cabbages, onions, and carrots. It's her treasure, the place where she grows food to keep her family strong. The sun is higher now, warming the earth, and the grass sparkles with dew. Beatrice kneels in the dirt, her dress brushing against the ground. She checks the plants, looking for weeds that might steal water from her vegetables. The weeds are sneaky, popping up overnight with their tough roots. She pulls them out, one by one, her hands strong and steady. The dirt sticks to her fingers, cool and damp, and she wipes it on her apron without thinking. Some plants need extra care. A cabbage leaf is drooping, so Beatrice ties it up with a bit of string to help it stand tall. A few bugs are crawling on the onions, and she brushes them off gently, not wanting to hurt the plants. The garden is small, but it's important. If the crops don't grow, her family might go hungry in the winter. Beatrice works carefully, her hands moving slowly, checking each plant like it's a friend. The sun feels good on her back, and she takes a deep breath, smelling the fresh earth and growing things. It's hard work, but it's peaceful too, like a quiet moment in a busy day. When the garden is done, Beatrice stands up, her back aching a little. She stretches, her arms reaching toward the sky, and takes a moment to look around. The village is busy now. Her neighbor Agnes is across the path, hanging wet clothes on a wooden rack to dry. A man walks by with a bundle of sticks, heading to the fields. Kids are running around, laughing and chasing a dog. The sounds mix together, clucks, moos, and voices, like a song the village sings every day. Beatrice smiles, feeling like she's part of it all. Then she heads back inside for her next task. Inside, the dough is rising, puffing up under the cloth. Beatrice checks it, pressing it gently with her finger. It's not ready yet, so she turns to another job, sweeping the floor. The dirt floor of her house gets messy fast, with bits of straw, crumbs, and mud from everyone's shoes. She grabs a broom made of twigs tied together and sweeps in slow, steady strokes. The broom scratches against the floor, a soft sound that mixes with the fire's crackle. She sweeps the dirt into a pile, then pushes it out the door. It's a small job, but it makes the house feel clean and cozy. Beatrice likes things tidy, even if her house is simple. The kids are awake now, and they're helping with small chores. Ella, the youngest, is feeding the chickens, scattering grain in the yard. Tom and Will, her boys, are carrying small buckets of water from the well. Their steps are wobbly, and a little water splashes out, but Beatrice doesn't mind. "Good job," she says, her voice soft and proud. The kids are young, but they learn fast because everyone in the village has to help. Beatrice watches them for a moment, her heart warm. They're messy and loud, but they're hers, and she loves them. Next, Beatrice heads to the fields. The fields are outside the village, where the big crops grow: wheat, barley, and oats. These crops belong to the Lord, but Beatrice's family gets to keep some for themselves. Today she's pulling weeds, just like in her garden, but the fields are much bigger. She walks along the rows, her eyes scanning for weeds among the green stalks. The sun is hot now, and sweat beads on her forehead. She wipes it away with her sleeve and keeps going. The weeds are tough, their roots deep in the soil, but Beatrice is stronger. She pulls them out, one by one, piling them in a heap. Her back aches and her hands are sore, but she doesn't stop. This is how her family eats, and she knows it. While she's in the fields, Beatrice also gathers herbs. There are wild herbs growing along the edges, like mint and thyme, that she uses for cooking or medicine. She picks them carefully, tucking them into her apron pocket. The herbs smell fresh like the earth after rain, and she breathes in deeply. They'll make the pottage taste better tonight, or maybe help if one of the kids gets a cough. Every little bit helps, and Beatrice is good at finding small things that make a big difference. Back at the house, the dough is ready. Beatrice shapes it into a loaf and sets it on a flat stone by the fire to bake. The fire is hot now, and she has to be careful not to burn herself. She turns the loaf every so often, making sure it cooks evenly. The smell of baking bread fills the house, warm and toasty, and it makes her stomach rumble. She hums her tune again, soft and steady as she works. The bread will be ready soon, and it'll be a treat for the family, crusty on the outside, soft on the inside, perfect with a bowl of pottage. With the bread baking, Beatrice turns to another task, mending clothes. Her son Tom tore his shirt yesterday, climbing a tree. She sits by the fire, a needle and thread in her hands, and starts stitching the hole. The needle is sharp, and she moves carefully, pulling the thread through the rough cloth. Her hands are steady, even though they're tired. Mending is slow work, but it's important. Clothes are hard to make, and Beatrice can't afford to throw them away. She patches the shirt, making it strong again, and sets it aside for Tom. She checks the other clothes too, looking for holes or loose seams. There's always something to fix, but she doesn't mind. It's just another small task in her day. The sun is high now, and the village is in full swing. Beatrice hears the clop of a horse pulling a cart, the laughter of kids, and the thud of an axe chopping wood. She steps outside to check on the chickens. They're happy, pecking at the ground, but one has wandered too far. Beatrice shoos it back to the yard, her hands gentle but firm. The chickens are important. They give eggs and sometimes meat, and she takes good care of them. She scatters a little more grain, watching them cluck and peck. It's a small job, but it feels good to see them happy. Next, Beatrice carries another bucket of water from the well. The path is familiar, bumpy with rocks and mud. The bucket is heavy and her arms ache as she walks. Water sloshes over the edge, wetting her apron, but she keeps going. She needs water for cooking, washing, and drinking, and the well is the only place to get it. At the well, she sees her friend Agnes, who's filling her own bucket. They nod to each other, too busy to talk, but their smiles say enough. The village is like a big family, everyone working together, and Beatrice feels stronger knowing she's not alone. Back at the house, the bread is done. Beatrice pulls it from the fire, careful not to burn her hands. It's golden brown with a crusty top that crackles when she taps it. She sets it on the table to cool, the smell filling the house. The kids run in, their eyes wide with excitement. "Bread," Ella shouts, and Beatrice laughs softly. "Not yet," she says, "it's too hot." The kids sit on the dirt floor, waiting impatiently, and Beatrice feels a warm glow in her heart. The bread is a small thing, but it makes her family happy, and that's worth all the work. Beatrice's next task is to check the cow, Old Bess. She's grazing in a small patch of grass near the house, but Beatrice makes sure she's okay. She pats the cow's side, feeling her warmth, and checks the rope tying her to a post. Old Bess looks at her with big, calm eyes, chewing her cud. Beatrice smiles and says, "Good girl, Bess." The cow gives milk every day, and Beatrice is grateful for her. She'll milk her again later, but for now, she just makes sure she's safe. The day is moving on, and Beatrice's back is starting to ache. The sun is hot, and her hands are sore from kneading, pulling weeds, and carrying water. But she keeps going, one task at a time. She sweeps the floor again because the kids tracked in more mud. She checks the garden, pulling a few more weeds. She mends another shirt, this one with a loose seam. Each job is small, but they pile up like stones in a wall, building the day into something solid. The village is full of sounds now. Hammers banging, voices calling, animals clucking and mooing. Beatrice hears it all as she works, and it feels like a song she knows by heart. She steps outside to gather more herbs, picking a few sprigs of thyme to add to the pottage. The herbs smell fresh, and she tucks them into her apron pocket. The sun is bright, and she squints as she works, her hands moving slowly but surely. The herbs will make the food taste better, and that's another small way she takes care of her family. Beatrice's kids are helping again. Ella is collecting eggs from the chickens, holding them carefully in her small hands. Tom and Will are stacking sticks for the fire, their faces serious as they try to do it right. Beatrice watches them, her heart full. They're young, but they're learning, and she's proud of them. She shows Ella how to check the eggs for cracks, and she helps the boys stack the sticks so they won't fall. It's a small moment, but it feels big, like a warm hug from the world. The work is endless, but Beatrice doesn't think about that. She focuses on one task at a time, kneading dough, pulling weeds, carrying water, mending clothes. Each job is like a step in a long walk, and she keeps moving forward. Her back aches, her hands are rough, and sometimes she wishes for a moment to sit and do nothing. But that's not how life works in the village. The chores keep coming, and Beatrice keeps going, her steady hands and quiet hum carrying her through. There's a calm in the sameness of her work. Every day is like the one before, kneading, sweeping, pulling, carrying. It's like the waves on a shore, coming and going in a gentle rhythm. Beatrice finds peace in it, even when she's tired. The tasks are small, but they mean something. They keep her family fed, warm, and safe. They make her house a home. And that's enough to keep her going, one tiny task at a time. As the sun climbs higher, Beatrice takes a moment to rest. She leans against the door of her house, feeling the warmth on her face. The village is alive around her with sounds and smells that feel like home. She closes her eyes just for a second and listens to the cluck of chickens, the thud of an axe, the laughter of kids. Her day is far from over, but for now she lets herself breathe, feeling the rhythm of her work wrap around her like a soft blanket. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice moving through her chores. See her kneading dough, pulling weeds, carrying water. Hear her soft hum mixing with the sounds of the village. Her life is brutal, full of work that never stops, but it's also full of small, quiet moments that make it okay. Let's keep going nice and slow as we follow her through her day, learning more about her world and the tasks that fill it. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The sun is high in the sky now, pouring warm golden light over the little village. The straw roofs of the houses glow, and the dirt paths are dry and dusty. The village is busy, filled with the sounds of clucking chickens, mooing cows, and kids laughing as they run around. Beatrice is in the middle of her day, moving from one chore to another, her hands always busy. By afternoon, her arms feel heavy, like they're carrying invisible weights. Her feet are sore from standing and walking on the hard ground. The work carrying water, scrubbing pots, chasing after her kids wears her down, but it's a good kind of tired. It's the kind that makes sleep feel like a sweet reward waiting at the end of the day. Beatrice lets out a long, cozy sigh, her body already dreaming of the moment she can lie down and close her eyes. Let's follow her through the afternoon, step by step, and see how her work makes her tired but keeps her going. Beatrice is outside, standing by the well in the center of the village. The well is a big stone circle with a wooden bar and a rope tied to it. She's carrying water again, one of her biggest chores. The wooden bucket is heavy, filled to the brim with cold, clear water. Her arms strain as she lifts it, and her shoulders ache from the weight. The path back to her house is bumpy, with rocks and patches of dried mud. She walks slowly, careful not to spill too much, but a few drops splash onto her apron, leaving dark spots on the cloth. Her feet hurt, the leather soles of her shoes worn thin from walking back and forth. She's been to the well 3 times already today, and she'll probably go again before the sun sets. It's hard work, but water is important for cooking, washing, and drinking, and Beatrice keeps going, one step at a time. Back at the house, she pours the water into a big clay pot by the fire. The fire is burning low, just a few flames licking at the wood. Beatrice adds a stick to keep it going, watching the sparks dance for a moment. The house is warm, filled with the smell of smoke and the pottage she cooked earlier. Her kids are outside, playing in the yard, their voices loud and happy. Beatrice smiles, but her body feels heavy, like it's asking for a break. She doesn't stop, though. There's too much to do. She grabs a wooden scrub brush and starts cleaning the pots from breakfast. The pots are heavy, made of clay or iron, and the food sticks to the sides, crusty and hard. She scrubs hard, her hands red from the cold water and rough brush. Her arms ache and her fingers feel stiff, but she keeps scrubbing until the pots are clean. It's a small job, but it matters. Clean pots mean good food, and good food keeps her family strong. The kids run into the house, their faces smudged with dirt. Ella, the youngest, is chasing her brother Tom, who's holding a stick like it's a sword. "Give it back," Ella shouts, and Beatrice laughs softly, even though she's tired. "No fighting," she says, her voice gentle but firm. The kids settle down, sitting on the dirt floor, and Beatrice gives them a small task, sorting a pile of dried beans. They grumble a little, but they start picking through the beans, tossing out the bad ones. Beatrice watches them for a moment, her heart warm. Her kids are her reason for working so hard, even when her body feels like it wants to stop. Her next chore is outside again, checking the garden. The garden is her pride, a small patch of dirt where she grows cabbages, onions, carrots, and herbs. She kneels in the dirt, her knees pressing into the cool earth. The sun is hot now and sweat beads on her forehead. She wipes it away with her sleeve and starts pulling weeds. The weeds are stubborn, their roots deep in the ground, and it takes strength to tug them out. Her hands are sore and her back aches from bending over, but she keeps going. The garden is important. If the plants don't grow, her family might go hungry in the winter. She checks each plant, brushing off bugs or tying up a drooping stem with a bit of string. The work is slow and her body feels heavy, but there's a quiet calm in it, like a soft song that keeps her moving. Beatrice stands up, stretching her arms toward the sky. Her back cracks a little and she lets out a long sigh. The village is alive around her with sounds that feel like home. A neighbor is chopping wood, the axe making a steady thud, thud, thud. Chickens cluck in the yard and a cow moos in the distance. Kids are laughing, running after a dog that's barking at a butterfly. Beatrice takes a moment to breathe, the warm air filling her lungs. The smell of grass and smoke mixes with the earthy scent of the garden. It's a hard life, but it's hers, and she's proud of it. Back inside, Beatrice checks the fire again. It's getting low, so she adds more wood, careful not to let it smoke too much. The fire is the heart of the house, and she's good at keeping it just right. She stirs the pottage, which is simmering in the pot. The smell is warm and comforting, like a hug from the inside. She adds a pinch of herbs from the garden, making the soup taste even better. Her stomach rumbles, but she won't eat yet. There's too much to do. Her arms feel like they're made of lead, heavy and slow, but she keeps moving, one small task at a time. Her next job is to mend a shirt. Her son will tore his sleeve yesterday, climbing over a fence. Beatrice sits by the fire, a needle and thread in her hands. The needle is small and sharp, and she moves carefully, pulling the thread through the rough cloth. Her fingers are sore from scrubbing pots and pulling weeds, but she's used to it. She stitches the sleeve, making it strong again, and checks for other holes. Clothes are hard to make, and Beatrice can't afford to throw them away. She mends everything, shirts, dresses, even her apron, keeping them good for as long as she can. It's slow work, and her eyes feel tired from looking at the tiny stitches, but she keeps going. It's just another small task in her day. The kids are back outside, and Beatrice hears them shouting. She steps to the door to check on them. Tom is chasing Ella with a stick, and Will is trying to climb a tree. "Be careful," Beatrice calls, her voice soft but firm. The kids laugh and keep playing, their energy making her smile even though she's tired. Her feet ache from standing all day and her legs feel heavy like they're begging to sit down. But there's no time for that yet. She goes back inside to sweep the floor. The dirt floor gets messy fast with bits of straw, crumbs, and mud from the kids' shoes. She grabs her twig broom and sweeps in slow, steady strokes. The broom scratches against the floor, a soft sound that mixes with the fire's crackle. It's a small job, but it makes the house feel cozy. Beatrice's next chore is to check the chickens. She steps outside, her shoes crunching on the dry path. The chickens are pecking in the yard, happy and busy. She scatters a handful of grain, watching them cluck and rush over. One chicken, a fluffy brown one, tries to steal from the others, and Beatrice laughs softly. "Share, little one," she says, her voice kind. She checks for eggs, finding one in the straw. It's warm and smooth in her hand, and she tucks it into her apron pocket. The eggs are precious, and she's careful not to drop it. Her arms are tired, and her hands feel stiff, but she keeps going, one small task at a time. The sun is starting to dip now, and the light is softer, casting long shadows across the village. Beatrice's body is feeling the weight of the day. Her arms are heavy, like they're carrying invisible buckets. Her feet are sore, the soles of her shoes rubbing against her heels. Her back aches from bending over the garden and scrubbing pots. But it's a good kind of tired, the kind that comes from working hard for her family. She knows that when the day is done, she'll lie down on her straw mattress and sleep deeply, her body grateful for the rest. She lets out a long, cozy sigh, imagining that moment already. Beatrice heads to the well again. The bucket feels heavier this time, and her steps are slower. The water sloshes as she walks, and her arms tremble a little from the effort. She pours the water into the pot at home, then sits for a moment, just a moment, to catch her breath. The house is quiet now, the kids still outside, and the fire crackles softly. She closes her eyes, feeling the warmth on her face. Her body is tired, but her heart is full. Every chore she's done today, carrying water, scrubbing pots, chasing kids, pulling weeds, is for her family. It's hard, but it's worth it. The village is still busy, but it's slowing down as the afternoon fades. Beatrice hears her neighbor Agnes calling her kids inside. A man is driving a cow back from the fields, its bell clanging softly. The air is cooler now, and the smell of grass and smoke is stronger. Beatrice steps outside to check the garden one more time. She pulls a few more weeds, her hands moving slowly, her back protesting with every bend. The plants look good though, and that makes her smile. The garden is her pride, a small patch of earth that feeds her family. Back inside, Beatrice checks the pottage again. It's ready now, thick and warm, perfect for supper. She calls the kids, who come running, their faces red from playing. They sit on the dirt floor and Beatrice spoons the pottage into wooden bowls. There's bread too, the loaf she baked earlier, crusty and warm. The kids eat quickly, hungry from their day, and Beatrice eats a small bowl, savoring the taste. Her body is tired, but the food helps, giving her a little more strength to keep going. Her next task is to feed the cow, Old Bess. Beatrice grabs a handful of hay and sets it in front of the cow, who's tied up in the corner of the house. Old Bess munches happily, her big eyes calm. Beatrice pats her side, feeling the warmth of her body. The cow is important. She gives milk every day, and Beatrice takes good care of her. Her hands are sore and her arms feel like they can barely lift the hay, but she does it anyway. It's just another small task, and she's used to it. The afternoon is almost over, and Beatrice's body is begging for rest. Her feet ache, her back is sore, and her arms feel like they can't carry another bucket. But there's a calm in her tiredness, a feeling that she's done something good. Every chore she's done today has helped her family: water for cooking, clean pots for food, a garden for vegetables, mended clothes for warmth. It's a hard life, but it's a life with purpose, and that makes the tiredness feel okay. Beatrice takes a moment to stand outside, looking at the village. The sun is low, painting the sky with soft pinks and oranges. The village is quieter now, with fewer sounds of work. The chickens are settling down, the kids are inside, and the air feels calm. Beatrice's body is heavy, but her heart is light. She knows that soon she'll lie down on her straw mattress, pull her blanket tight, and let the world go quiet. Sleep is coming, and it feels like a reward for all her hard work. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice moving through her afternoon. See her carrying water, scrubbing pots, chasing kids, and pulling weeds. Feel the weight of her arms, the ache in her feet, and the calm in her heart. Her life is brutal, full of work that never stops, but it's also full of small, quiet moments that make it okay. Let's keep going, nice and slow, as we follow her through her day, learning more about her world and the rest that's waiting for her. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The sun is sinking low, painting the sky with soft pinks and purples. The village is quieting down, with fewer clucks from the chickens and softer voices from the kids playing outside. Beatrice has been working all day, carrying water, scrubbing pots, pulling weeds, and chasing after her kids. Her arms are heavy, her feet are sore, and her back aches from bending over. But now, as the day fades, she's thinking about one thing: her bed. It's not fancy, just a simple straw-filled mattress on a wooden frame covered with a scratchy wool blanket. It's not soft like the beds we have today, but it smells of hay and home. When Beatrice lies down, the mattress crinkles and molds to her shape. It's not much, but it's hers, and after a long, hard day, it feels like the safest place in the world. Let's step into her little house, nice and slow, and see what makes her bed so special. Beatrice's house is small, just one room made of wood and mud. The walls are thick, but cold air sneaks through tiny cracks, making the room chilly at night. The roof is straw tied tightly to keep out the rain, and it rustles when the wind blows. The floor is dirt, packed hard from years of footsteps, and it feels cool under her feet. In the middle of the room is a fireplace, the heart of the house. It's burning low now, just a few glowing embers, casting soft shadows on the walls. The air smells of smoke, hay, and the earthy scent of the dirt floor. It's a simple place, but it's home, and Beatrice loves it. Her bed is in one corner of the room, pushed against the wall. It's not like our beds with fluffy pillows and soft sheets. It's just a wooden frame low to the ground with a mattress stuffed with straw. The straw is dry and prickly, gathered from the fields after the harvest. Beatrice made the mattress herself, stuffing a big cloth sack with straw until it was full. It's lumpy in some spots, and the straw pokes through the cloth sometimes, but she doesn't mind. When she lies down, the straw crinkles and shifts, making a soft, rustling sound. It's like the bed is settling in with her, wrapping her in its own kind of hug. The blanket on the bed is made of wool, rough and heavy. It's not smooth or soft, but it's warm, and that's what matters. Beatrice spun the wool herself, using a spinning wheel to turn fluffy sheep wool into thread. Then she wove the thread in a cloth on a loom, a slow job that took days. The blanket is patched in places, where she's sewn it to fix holes. It's a mix of gray and brown, the colors of the sheep in the village. When Beatrice pulls it over herself, it feels heavy, like a shield against the cold. The wool smells faintly of sheep and hay, a comforting smell that reminds her of home. The bed isn't just for Beatrice. Her kids sleep there too, curled up beside her like a pile of puppies. Ella, the youngest, likes to snuggle close, her small body warm and wiggly. Tom and Will, her boys, sprawl out, their arms and legs everywhere. Sometimes the dog sneaks onto the bed, curling up at their feet with a soft sigh. Even the cow, Old Bess, is nearby, tied up in the corner of the house. Her soft breathing and occasional snuffle add to the sounds of the night. The bed is crowded, but Beatrice doesn't mind. Having her family close makes her feel safe, like they're all in this together. When Beatrice lies down, the straw mattress crinkles and shifts under her weight. It's not soft, but it molds to her body, finding the shape of her shoulders and hips. The straw is cool at first, but it warms up from her body heat. She pulls the wool blanket tight, tucking it under her chin. The blanket is heavy, pressing down on her, and it feels like a warm hug. Her body is tired, her arms heavy from carrying buckets, her feet sore from standing, her back aching from bending over. But the bed, simple as it is, feels like the best place in the world. It's her place to rest, to let the day go, and to feel safe. The room is dark now, with just a faint glow from the embers in the fireplace. The light dances on the walls, making soft shadows that sway like leaves in the wind. Beatrice listens to the sounds of the house, the crackle of the fire, the soft breathing of her kids, the rustle of the straw roof. It's a quiet song, a lullaby that wraps around her. She closes her eyes, feeling the weight of the day slip away. The bed isn't perfect, but it works. It holds her, keeps her warm, and gives her a place to rest after a long, hard day. Beatrice thinks about her day as she lies there. She carried water from the well, her arms straining under the heavy buckets. She scrubbed pots until her hands were red and sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back aching with every bend. She chased after her kids, laughing even though she was tired. Each task was small, but they piled up like stones in a wall, building a day that was full of work. Now in her bed, she feels that work in her body, every muscle tired, every bone heavy. But it's a good kind of tired, the kind that makes sleep feel like a reward. The straw mattress crinkles again as she shifts, trying to find the perfect spot. A few bits of straw poke through the cloth, prickling her skin, but she's used to it. She adjusts the blanket, pulling it over her shoulder. The wool is scratchy, but it's warm, and that's what matters. The smell of hay and wool fills her nose, a familiar scent that makes her feel at home. She listens to Ella's soft breathing, so close she can feel the warmth of her little body. Tom mutters something in his sleep, and Will snores faintly, making Beatrice smile. The dog twitches at her feet, probably dreaming of chasing chickens. The house is full of life, even in the quiet of the night. The bed is low to the ground, so close to the dirt floor that Beatrice can feel the coolness of the earth beneath her. The wooden frame is sturdy, made by her husband from oak trees in the nearby forest. It's simple, just 4 legs and a flat top, but it holds the mattress well. Beatrice helped make the frame, smoothing the wood with her hands until it was safe for her kids to sleep on. The bed isn't fancy, but it's strong like Beatrice herself. It's been with her family for years, holding them through cold winters and warm summers. The straw in the mattress needs to be changed sometimes when it gets too flat or starts to smell musty. Beatrice does this every few months, pulling out the old straw and stuffing the sack with fresh hay. It's a big job and her hands get itchy from the dry straw, but it's worth it. Fresh straw makes the bed feel new again, and it smells clean like the fields after harvest. She shakes the straw to make it even, then sews the sack shut with her needle and thread. It's hard work, but Beatrice likes knowing her bed is ready for her family. The blanket is heavy, but it's not enough to keep out the cold on winter nights. Sometimes Beatrice adds an extra layer, a piece of old cloth or another wool blanket if she has one. She tucks it around her kids, making sure they're warm. The cold sneaks in through the cracks in the walls, but the bed feels like a safe little island. Beatrice pulls her kids close, their warmth mixing with hers, and the blanket holds it all in. It's not a perfect bed, but it works, and that's enough. The house is quiet now, but the village outside has its own sounds. The wind rustles the straw roof, a soft, whispering noise. A goat bleats in the distance, and an owl hoots somewhere in the trees. The fire pops, sending a tiny spark into the air. Beatrice listens, her eyes half closed, feeling the world slow down. The sounds are familiar, like a song she's heard her whole life. They make her feel safe, like the village is watching over her as she rests. Beatrice's bed is in the same room where she cooks, eats, and works. There's no separate bedroom, no door to close. The whole family lives in this one space, and the bed is part of it. During the day, Beatrice might use the bed as a place to fold clothes or set a basket of vegetables. At night, it's where everyone gathers to sleep. The kids climb in first, giggling and pushing each other to get the best spot. Beatrice waits until they're settled, then lies down beside them. Her husband joins them too, his big frame taking up space at the edge. The bed is crowded, but it's cozy, and Beatrice wouldn't have it any other way. The straw mattress isn't always comfortable. Sometimes a sharp piece of straw pokes through and Beatrice has to shift to avoid it. Sometimes the kids kick in their sleep or the dog snores too loudly, but Beatrice is used to it. She knows how to find the soft spots in the straw, the places where it's packed just right. She tucks the blanket tight, making sure no cold air sneaks in. The bed isn't perfect, but it's hers, and it holds her family close. As she lies there, Beatrice thinks about the day. She carried buckets of water until her arms ached. She scrubbed pots until her hands were sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back bending with every tug. She chased her kids, laughing even though she was tired. Now her body feels heavy, like it's sinking into the straw. Her arms are tired, her feet are sore, and her eyes are heavy. But it's a good kind of tired, the kind that comes from working hard for the people she loves. She knows that sleep is coming, and it will feel like a warm, soft reward. The blanket is heavy, pressing down on her like a gentle weight. It's not soft, but it's warm, and it keeps the cold away. Beatrice pulls it up to her chin, feeling the wool scratch against her skin. The smell of hay and wool fills her nose, and it's comforting, like a memory of home. The straw mattress crinkles as she shifts, finding the perfect spot. Her kids are close, they're breathing slow and steady. The dog is curled up at her feet, warm and quiet. The cow in the corner makes a soft snuffle, adding to the sounds of the night. Beatrice feels safe, like the world is holding her close. The bed is simple, but it's more than just a place to sleep. It's where Beatrice rests after a long day. It's where her kids snuggle close, safe and warm. It's where she dreams, her mind wandering to thoughts of tomorrow or memories of the past. The bed is where she feels like she can let go, where the weight of the day slips away. It's not fancy, not soft, not perfect, but it works. It holds her family, keeps them warm, and gives them a place to rest. The village is almost silent now, with just the soft sounds of night. The wind whispers through the straw roof and the fire pops quietly. Beatrice listens, her eyes closing, her body sinking deeper into the straw. The bed crinkles, the blanket is heavy, and the world feels calm. She knows that tomorrow will be another day of work, more water to carry, more pots to scrub, more weeds to pull. But for now, she's here in her bed with her family close. It's not much, but it's enough, and it feels like the safest place in the world. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice in her simple bed. See the straw mattress, the heavy wool blanket, the kids curled up beside her. Hear the crinkle of straw, the pop of the fire, the soft breathing of her family. Her life is brutal, full of work that never stops, but her bed is her safe place where she can rest and let the world go quiet. Let's keep going, nice and slow, as we follow her through her night, learning more about her world and the rest that holds her close. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The village is quiet now, wrapped in the soft darkness of night. The sun has set and the stars are twinkling like tiny candles in the sky. The air is cool and the sounds of the day, clucking chickens, banging buckets, and laughing kids have faded away. In Beatrice's small cottage, the fire is burning low, just a few glowing embers casting a warm light on the dirt floor. The house smells of smoke, hay, and the earthy scent of the straw roof. Beatrice is ready for bed, her body tired from a long day of work, carrying water, scrubbing pots, pulling weeds, and chasing her kids. She's not alone in her little cottage, though. Her children curl up beside her on the straw mattress, their small bodies warm and wiggly. Sometimes the dog sneaks in, nestling at her feet with a soft sigh. The closeness is comforting, like a reminder that they're all in this together. Even the cow in the corner of the room snuffles softly, adding to the gentle hum of life. Let's step into Beatrice's cottage, nice and slow, and see who shares her bed and makes her feel safe. The cottage is small, just one room made of wood and mud. The walls are thick, but cold air sneaks through tiny cracks, making the room chilly at night. The roof is straw, tied tightly to keep out the rain, and it rustles when the wind blows. The floor is dirt, packed hard from years of footsteps, and it feels cool under Beatrice's feet. In the middle of the room is a fireplace, its embers glowing softly, like little stars in a pile of ash. The house is simple, but it's home, and it's full of life, even in the quiet of the night. Beatrice's bed is in one corner, pushed against the wall. It's not fancy, just a wooden frame low to the ground with a mattress stuffed with straw. The straw crinkles when she moves, and it's not soft like our beds, but it's warm and cozy in its own way. A heavy wool blanket covers the mattress, rough and scratchy, but good at keeping out the cold. Beatrice doesn't sleep alone. Her 3 kids, Ella, Tom, and Will, curl up beside her, their small bodies pressed close. Their warmth is like a little fire, keeping her cozy even when the night is cold. Sometimes the dog, a shaggy brown mutt named Patch, sneaks onto the bed, curling up at her feet. Even the cow, Old Bess, is nearby, tied up in the corner of the house. Her soft snuffles and slow breaths add to the sounds of the night. The closeness of her family and animals makes Beatrice feel safe, like they're all in this hard life together. As Beatrice gets ready for bed, she moves slowly, her body heavy from the day's work. Her arms ache from carrying buckets of water, her feet are sore from standing, and her back hurts from bending over in the garden. She sits on the edge of the bed, untying her linen cap and letting her hair fall loose. It's long and brown, tangled from a day of work, but she doesn't care. She smooths it with her fingers, then tucks it behind her ears. The kids are already climbing onto the bed, giggling and pushing each other to get the best spot. "Move over, Tom," Ella says, her voice a loud whisper. Tom giggles and shoves back, but Beatrice shushes them gently. "Time to settle," she says, her voice soft like a lullaby. Ella is the youngest, just 5 years old, with big eyes and a tangle of curly hair. She loves to snuggle close to Beatrice, her small body warm and wiggly. She curls up against her mother's side, her head resting on Beatrice's arm. Ella's breathing is soft and quick like a little bird, and she smells faintly of dirt and grass from playing outside. Beatrice strokes her hair, smoothing the curls, and Ella sighs happily. "Good night, Mama," she whispers, her voice sleepy. Beatrice smiles, her heart full. Having Ella close makes the hard day feel worth it. Tom is 7, all arms and legs, always moving even when he's tired. He sprawls out on the bed, taking up more space than he needs. His hair is messy, sticking up like a bird's nest, and his face is smudged with dirt from chasing the dog. Tom is loud during the day, always running or shouting, but at night he quiets down. He lies next to Ella, his arm thrown over her like a big brother protecting his sister. Sometimes he mutters in his sleep, talking about sticks or chickens or something silly from his day. Beatrice listens, a small smile on her face. Tom's energy makes her tired, but his warmth makes her feel safe. Will is the oldest, 9 years old, and he's starting to act like a little man. He's quieter than Tom, with serious eyes and a careful way of moving. He lies on the edge of the bed, his body curled up to make room for the others. Will helps Beatrice during the day, carrying water or stacking wood, and he's proud of being strong. At night, though, he's just her boy, snuggled close under the blanket. His breathing is slow and steady, and sometimes he snores, a soft sound that makes Beatrice chuckle. She reaches over and tucks the blanket around him, making sure he's warm. The dog Patch is part of the bedtime crowd too. He's a shaggy mutt with floppy ears and a tail that wags even when he's sleepy. Patch waits until the kids are settled, then sneaks onto the bed, curling up at Beatrice's feet. His fur is warm, and he lets out a big sigh like he's happy to finally rest. Sometimes he twitches in his sleep, his paws moving like he's chasing something in a dream. Beatrice feels his weight against her legs, and it's comforting, like a reminder that even the animals are part of her family. The cow, Old Bess, doesn't sleep on the bed, but she's close by, tied up in the corner of the cottage. The house is small, so the animals live inside with the family, especially in the winter when it's cold. Old Bess is calm, her big body warm and steady. She chews her cud, making soft, rhythmic sounds, snuffle, snuffle, snuffle. It's like a quiet song, blending with the kids' breathing and the crackle of the fire. Beatrice listens to Old Bess, her eyes half closed, and it feels like the cow is part of the family too. Her presence makes the cottage feel full of life, even in the stillness of the night. The bed is crowded with Beatrice, her 3 kids, and sometimes Patch all squeezed together. The straw mattress crinkles every time someone moves, and the wool blanket is heavy, pressing down on them like a warm hug. It's not a big bed, but it's enough. The wooden frame is low to the ground, sturdy and simple, made by Beatrice's husband from oak wood. The straw is dry and prickly, but it molds to their bodies, finding the shape of their shoulders and hips. Sometimes a piece of straw pokes through the cloth and Beatrice shifts to avoid it. It's not perfect, but it works and it holds them all close. The closeness is what makes the bed special. Beatrice feels Ella's warmth against her side, Tom's arm across her, and Will's steady breathing nearby. Patch's fur brushes her feet, and Old Bess's soft snuffles fill the air. It's like they're all wrapped together in a big warm bundle, safe from the cold night outside. The cottage is small and the world outside is hard, but here in this bed, Beatrice feels like everything is okay. Her family is with her, and that's what matters. The night is dark, with no lights except the faint glow of the fire's embers. The shadows dance on the walls, soft and slow, like leaves moving in the wind. Beatrice listens to the sounds of the cottage, the crackle of the fire, the rustle of the straw roof, the breathing of her kids. It's a gentle hum, a lullaby that makes her feel sleepy. She pulls the blanket tighter, tucking it around her kids to keep them warm. The wool is scratchy, but it's heavy and warm, and it smells of hay and home. Beatrice breathes it in, her body relaxing into the straw. Sometimes the kids wiggle in their sleep, pushing against each other or kicking the blanket off. Beatrice reaches out, pulling the blanket back over them, her hands gentle. Ella murmurs something, maybe a dream about a butterfly or a chicken, and Beatrice smiles. Tom rolls over, his arm flopping onto Will, who grumbles but doesn't wake up. Patch twitches at her feet, his tail thumping softly against the mattress. The sounds and movements are familiar, like a song Beatrice knows by heart. They make her feel safe, like the world is holding her close. The cottage is chilly, even with the fire. Cold air sneaks through the cracks in the walls, and Beatrice can feel it on her face. But the bed is warm, with her kids in the blanket keeping the cold away. She pulls Ella closer, feeling her small body snuggle in. The straw crinkles and the blanket shifts, but Beatrice doesn't mind. The closeness is comforting, like a reminder that they're all in this together. The hard days carrying water, scrubbing pots, pulling weeds are worth it because of this moment when her family is safe and warm beside her. Old Bess adds to the feeling of home. Her soft snuffles are steady, like a heartbeat in the dark. Beatrice listens, her eyes heavy, and imagines the cow dreaming of green grass or a sunny field. Old Bess gives milk every day, and Beatrice takes care of her just like she takes care of her kids. The cow is part of the family, and her presence makes the cottage feel full of life. Even the chickens, roosting outside, add their own quiet clucks to the night, though Beatrice can't hear them from the bed. It's all part of the gentle hum of life in her little world. The bed isn't just for sleeping. During the day, Beatrice might use it as a place to fold clothes or set a basket of vegetables. The kids might sit on it, playing or eating a piece of bread. But at night, it's where everyone comes together. Beatrice's husband joins them too when he's done with his work in the fields. He's big and quiet, taking up space at the edge of the bed. His breathing is deep, like a low rumble, and it adds to the sounds of the night. The bed is crowded, but it's cozy, and Beatrice loves having everyone close. The straw mattress is lumpy in places, and sometimes a sharp piece of straw pokes through. Beatrice shifts to avoid it, finding a softer spot. The blanket is heavy, pressing down on her like a warm weight. It's not soft, but it's enough to keep out the cold. She tucks it around her kids, making sure they're covered. Ella's foot sticks out, and Beatrice gently pulls the blanket over it. The kids are warm, their bodies like little fires, and Beatrice feels their heat against her. It's a good feeling, like they're all sharing their warmth to keep the night away. The night is full of sounds, even in the quiet. The wind whispers through the straw roof, a soft, rustling noise. The fire pops, sending a tiny spark into the air. Old Bess snuffles, her breath slow and steady. The kids breathe softly, their chests rising and falling. Patch sighs in his sleep, his fur warm against Beatrice's feet. It's like a quiet song, a lullaby that wraps around the cottage. Beatrice listens, her eyes closing, her body sinking into the straw. The sounds make her feel safe, like the world is watching over her family. The bed is simple, but it's more than just a place to sleep. It's where Beatrice feels close to her kids, where she can let the day's worries slip away. It's where she dreams, her mind wandering to thoughts of tomorrow or memories of her own childhood. The bed is where she feels like she belongs, surrounded by the people and animals she loves. It's not perfect, the straw is prickly, the blanket is scratchy, and the kids wiggle too much, but it works. It holds them all, keeps them warm, and gives them a place to rest. Beatrice thinks about her day as she lies there. She carried buckets of water until her arms ached. She scrubbed pots until her hands were sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back bending with every tug. She chased her kids, laughing even though she was tired. Now in her bed, she feels that work in her body, every muscle tired, every bone heavy. But the closeness of her kids, the warmth of the blanket, and the soft sounds of the cottage make it all okay. Sleep is coming, and it feels like a reward for her hard day. The village outside is quiet, with just a few sounds drifting through the night. An owl hoots in the trees, its call soft and low. A goat bleats in the distance, then falls silent. The wind rustles the straw roofs like a whisper from the stars. Beatrice listens, her heart calm. The village is her world, and even in the dark it feels alive. Her cottage is small, but it's full of love, and that makes it the best place to be. The bed creaks as Tom rolls over, his arm flopping onto Ella. She grumbles in her sleep, pushing back, and Beatrice smiles. She reaches out, adjusting the blanket to cover them both. Will snores softly, his face peaceful. Hatch twitches, his tail thumping against the mattress. Old Bess shifts in the corner, her hooves rustling the straw on the floor. It's a crowded, noisy bed, but Beatrice wouldn't change it. The closeness is what makes it special, like a warm hug that lasts all night. As Beatrice lies there, her body sinks deeper into the straw. The mattress crinkles, the blanket is heavy, and the kids are warm beside her. She feels Patch's fur against her feet, hears Old Bess's soft snuffles, and knows that everything is okay. The day was hard, full of work that never stops, but now she's here, surrounded by her family. The cottage is dark, the fire is low, and the world is quiet. Sleep is coming, and Beatrice is ready, her heart full of love and her body ready to rest. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice in her crowded bed. See her kids curled up beside her, their small bodies warm and wiggly. Feel the weight of the wool blanket, hear the crinkle of the straw mattress, and listen to the soft snuffles of the cow. Her life is brutal, full of work that never stops, but her bed is full of love, a place where she feels safe and close to her family. Let's keep going, nice and slow, as we follow her through the night, learning more about her world and the comfort of those who sleep beside her. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The sun is gone and the sky is dark, sprinkled with tiny, twinkling stars. The village is quiet now, no longer filled with the clatter of buckets or the shouts of kids playing. Night has settled over the small houses, their straw roofs glowing faintly under the moonlight. Inside Beatrice's cottage, the fire is low, just a few embers glowing like little red stars. The air is cool and the smell of smoke and hay fills the room. Beatrice is in her bed, a straw mattress covered with a heavy wool blanket, her kids curled up beside her. As night falls, the world outside her cottage comes alive with sound. The wind rustles the straw roof like a soft whisper. Goats bleat in the distance, their voices far away and gentle. The fire pops quietly, sending tiny sparks into the air. It's a natural lullaby, a mix of creaks and whispers that wraps around Beatrice like a warm blanket. The village settles and the night feels soft and alive. Let's listen to the sounds of the night, nice and slow, and see how they make Beatrice's world feel safe and cozy. Beatrice lies on her straw mattress, the blanket pulled up to her chin. Her kids Ella, Tom, and Will are close, their small bodies warm and wiggly. The dog Patch is curled up at her feet, his fur soft against her legs. The cow Old Bess is in the corner of the cottage, her slow breaths adding to the quiet. The house is dark with just a faint glow from the fire. Beatrice's eyes are heavy, her body tired from a day of hard work, carrying water, scrubbing pots, pulling weeds, and chasing her kids. She's ready to sleep, but the sounds of the night keep her company, like a gentle song that helps her relax. The first sound she hears is the wind. It's soft like a breath moving through the village. The straw roof rustles, a quiet, scratchy noise like someone whispering a secret. The wind pushes against the walls, making them creak just a little. It's not loud, but it's steady, a sound that's always there in the night. Beatrice listens, her eyes half closed, and the rustling feels like a hug from the world outside. The wind carries other sounds too, leaves shaking in the trees, grass bending in the fields. It's like the village is talking, telling her it's time to rest. Then there's a goat bleating in the distance. It's a soft, wobbly sound far away, maybe from a neighbor's yard. The goat bleats once, then again, like it's calling to a friend. Beatrice smiles, imagining the goat standing in the dark, its little head tilted. Goats are funny animals, always making noise even at night. The sound is faint, but it's part of the night's song, a reminder that the village is alive, even when everyone's asleep. Another goat answers, its bleat even softer, and then they're quiet. Beatrice listens, her heart calm, feeling like the goats are part of her world. The fire in the cottage pops, a sharp, tiny sound that makes Beatrice open her eyes for a moment. The embers glow red and warm, and a spark jumps into the air, then fades. The fire is small now, just enough to keep the chill away. It crackles softly like a whisper as the wood burns down to ash. The sound is gentle, a steady hum that fills the cottage. Beatrice loves the fire's noise. It's like a friend keeping her company in the dark. She watches the embers for a moment, their light dancing on the walls, then closes her eyes again. The fire's pops and crackles are part of the night's lullaby, making her feel safe. Inside the cottage, the kids add their own sounds. Ella, the youngest, breathes softly, her breath quick and light like a little bird. She's curled up against Beatrice, her head resting on her mother's arm. Sometimes Ella murmurs in her sleep, a quiet mumble about a dream, maybe a butterfly or a chicken. Beatrice smiles, stroking Ella's hair gently. Tom, next to Ella, snores a little, a soft, rumbling sound. He's sprawled out, his arms and legs everywhere, taking up space. Will, the oldest, breathes slowly, his chest rising and falling like a steady wave. The kids' sounds mix together, a quiet song that makes Beatrice's heart feel full. They're safe, warm, and close, and their breathing is the best sound in the world. Patch, the dog, adds to the night's noises. He's curled up at Beatrice's feet, his fur warm and soft. He sighs in his sleep, a big happy sound like he's dreaming of chasing a rabbit. Sometimes his paws twitch, making a soft thump against the mattress. His tail flicks, brushing Beatrice's legs, and she smiles. Patch is part of the family, and his quiet noises make the bed feel even cozier. The straw mattress crinkles when he moves, a soft, rustling sound that blends with the other noises. Beatrice listens, her body relaxing, feeling like Patch is keeping watch over them all. Old Bess, the cow in the corner, makes her own sounds. She's calm, her big body warm and steady. She snuffles softly, her breath slow and deep, snuffle, snuffle, snuffle. It's like a heartbeat, steady and comforting. Sometimes she shifts, her hooves rustling the straw on the floor. The sound is quiet, but it's there, part of the cottage's night song. Beatrice listens to Old Bess, her eyes heavy, and feels like the cow is part of the family too. Old Bess gives milk every day, and Beatrice takes care of her, just like she takes care of her kids. The cow's snuffles make the cottage feel alive, even in the dark. Outside, an owl hoots, its call low and gentle. The sound comes from the trees near the village, soft and far away. The owl hoots again, like it's talking to the stars. Beatrice loves the owl's voice, it's like a secret only the night knows. The hoot is quiet, but it carries through the dark, mixing with the wind and the goats. It's another part of the night's lullaby, a sound that makes the world feel big but safe. Beatrice listens, her body sinking deeper into the straw mattress, feeling like the owl is watching over the village. The cottage itself makes noises too. The wooden walls creak when the wind pushes against them, a soft groaning sound. The straw roof rustles like dry leaves in a breeze. The dirt floor is quiet, but sometimes a pebble shifts under someone's foot, making a tiny crunch. The sounds are small, but they're part of the cottage's life. Beatrice knows every creak and rustle, like a song she's heard her whole life. They make her feel safe, like the house is holding her family close. The village outside is quiet, but not silent. A dog barks in the distance, sharp and quick, then stops. Maybe it heard the owl or smelled something in the wind. The bark fades and the night is calm again. A horse snorts softly, maybe in a neighbor's yard, its hooves shuffling in the dirt. The sounds are faint, but they're there like whispers from the village. Beatrice listens, her heart slow and steady, feeling like the village is resting with her. Sometimes a frog croaks near the river that runs by the village. The sound is small, a little ribbit that carries through the night. The frogs are quiet in the winter, but in the summer they sing all night, a soft chorus that Beatrice loves. Tonight just one frog croaks, like it's saying good night to the world. The sound is gentle, blending with the wind and the owl's hoot. Beatrice smiles, imagining the frog sitting by the water, its tiny voice part of the night's song. The night is full of these sounds, each one small but important. The wind in the roof, the goats bleating, the fire popping, the kids breathing, Patch sighing, Old Bess snuffling, the owl hooting, the cottage creaking, the dog barking, the horse snorting, the frog croaking. They all mix together like a lullaby that wraps around Beatrice. She lies in her bed, the straw crinkling under her, the wool blanket heavy and warm. Her kids are close, their warmth like a little fire. Patch's fur brushes her feet and Old Bess's snuffles fill the air. The sounds of the night make her feel safe, like the world is singing her to sleep. Beatrice's day was hard, full of work that never stops. She carried buckets of water until her arms ached. She scrubbed pots until her hands were sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back bending with every tug. She chased her kids, laughing even though she was tired. Now in her bed, she feels that work in her body, every muscle tired, every bone heavy. But the sounds of the night are like a soft blanket, wrapping around her and making it all okay. They tell her that the village is resting, that her family is safe, and that sleep is coming. The wind rustles the roof again, a soft, whispering sound. Beatrice listens, her eyes closing, her body sinking into the straw. The goats bleat one more time far away, then fall silent. The fire pops, a tiny spark fatting in the air. Ella murmurs in her sleep, her voice soft and sweet. Tom snores, will breathe slowly, and Patch sighs at her feet. Old Bess snuffles, her hooves rustling the straw. The owl hoots, the cottage creaks, and the night feels alive, but gentle, like a friend holding her hand. The sounds are a reminder that Beatrice isn't alone. Her kids are with her, their warmth and breathing a comfort. Patch is there, his soft noises part of the family. Old Bess is close, her snuffles like a steady heartbeat. The village outside is quiet, but it sounds, the wind, the goats, the owl make it feel alive. Beatrice's cottage is small, but it's full of love, and the night's lullaby makes it feel like the best place in the world. As Beatrice lies there, the sounds of the night carry her closer to sleep. The wind whispers, the fire crackles, the kids breathe, and the world feels calm. Her body is tired, but her heart is full. The day was brutal, full of work that never stops, but now she's here, surrounded by the gentle hum of life. The night is soft, the sounds are soothing, and sleep is waiting like a warm, quiet gift. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice in her cottage, listening to the sounds of the night. Hear the wind rustling the roof, the goats bleating in the distance, the fire popping quietly. Feel the warmth of her kids, the soft fur of the dog, the steady snuffles of the cow. Her life is brutal, but the night is gentle, a lullaby of creaks and whispers that wraps around her. Let's keep going, nice and slow, as we follow her through the night, learning more about her world and the sounds that make it feel alive. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The night is deep and dark, with stars twinkling high above the village. The little houses with their straw roofs are quiet under the moonlight. Inside Beatrice's small cottage, the air is cool and smells of smoke and hay. The fire is low, just a few glowing embers casting a soft red light on the dirt floor. Beatrice is in her bed, a straw mattress covered with a heavy wool blanket, her kids curled up beside her. The dog Patch is at her feet, and the cow, Old Bess, snuffles softly in the corner. The world is calm, wrapped in the hush of night. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, Beatrice wakes. It's not a sudden jump like when a noise scares you. It's a gentle stirring like a leaf floating to the ground. This is called segmented sleep, something people did a long time ago, 2 sleeps in one night with a quiet hour in between. During this midnight break, Beatrice might check the fire or whisper to her husband about the day. There's no rush, no hurry, just the calm of the dark. Let's step into her cottage, nice and slow, and see what this quiet hour is like. Beatrice lies on her straw mattress, the blanket pulled up to her chin. Her kids Ella, Tom, and Will are close, their small bodies warm and breathing softly. Patch is curled up at her feet, his fur soft and warm. Old Bess is in the corner, her slow snuffles like a gentle heartbeat. The cottage is dark, with just the faint glow of the embers. The straw roof rustles softly as the wind moves outside and an owl hoots far away. Beatrice's body is tired from a long day, carrying water, scrubbing pots, pulling weeds, and chasing her kids. She was sleeping deeply, but now her eyes open just a little. She's not scared or worried. It's just time for her midnight break, a quiet moment when the world feels still. She doesn't get up right away. She lies there listening to the sounds of the night. The fire pops, a tiny spark jumping into the air. The wind whispers through the straw roof like a soft voice telling a story. Ella breathes quickly like a little bird, her head resting on Beatrice's arm. Tom snores softly, his arm thrown over his sister. Will's breathing is slow and steady like a calm wave. Patch sighs in his sleep, his paws twitching as he dreams. Old Bess snuffles, her hooves rustling the straw on the floor. These sounds are familiar, like a song Beatrice knows by heart. They make her feel safe, like the cottage is holding her family close. Beatrice shifts on the mattress, the straw crinkling under her. It's not a soft bed, but it's warm and the wool blanket is heavy, keeping out the cold. She pulls it tighter, tucking it around her kids. Ella murmurs something in her sleep, maybe about a butterfly or a chicken, and Beatrice smiles. She strokes Ella's hair, her fingers gentle, then closes her eyes for a moment. The night is quiet, and there's no need to hurry. This is her midnight break, a time to rest without sleeping, to let her mind wander in the dark. After a while, Beatrice sits up slowly. The straw crinkles again, and she moves carefully so she doesn't wake the kids. Her husband, John, is on the edge of the bed, his breathing deep and steady. He's a big man, quiet and strong, who works in the fields all day. Sometimes he wakes during the midnight break too, and they talk in whispers. Tonight he's still asleep, so Beatrice lets him rest. She swings her legs over the side of the bed, her feet touching the cool dirt floor. The air is chilly, and she pulls her blanket around her shoulders like a shawl. The cottage is dark, but she knows every corner, every sound, every smell. Her first thought is the fire. It's low, just a few embers glowing in the fireplace. If it goes out, the cottage will get too cold and the kids might wake up shivering. Beatrice kneels by the fire, moving slowly so she doesn't make noise. She blows gently on the embers, her breath making them glow brighter. A spark catches and she adds a small stick, watching it start to burn. The fire crackles, a soft, friendly sound, and the room feels a little warmer. She adds another stick, careful not to make it smoke too much. The smoke curls up to the hole in the straw roof, drifting out into the night. Beatrice watches the flames for a moment, their light dancing on the walls. The fire is the heart of the cottage, and keeping it going makes her feel like she's taking care of her family, even in the middle of the night. With the fire settled, Beatrice sits back on the bed. The straw crinkles under her and she pulls the blanket tighter. She doesn't want to sleep yet. This is her quiet hour, a time when the world feels calm and still. She listens to the night again, the sounds wrapping around her like a soft hug. The wind rustles the roof, a gentle whispering noise. An owl hoots in the trees, its call low and far away. A goat bleats in the distance, its voice soft and wobbly. The fire pops and old Bess snuffles in the corner. The kids breathe softly, their warmth close and comforting. Beatrice feels like the night is singing to her, a lullaby that makes her heart feel light. Sometimes, during the midnight break, Beatrice thinks about her day. She carried heavy buckets of water from the well, her arms aching with every step. She scrubbed pots until her hands were red and sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back bending with every tug. She chased her kids, laughing even though she was tired. The work was hard, but it was for her family, and that makes it worth it. Now in the quiet of the night, she feels proud of what she did. The cottage is warm, the kids are safe, and there's food for tomorrow. The midnight break gives her a moment to feel that pride, to know her work matters. Other times, Beatrice talks to her husband during this hour. If John wakes, they whisper so they don't disturb the kids. They talk about small things, the cow's milk, the garden's weeds, or the funny thing Tom did with a stick. Sometimes they talk about bigger things, like hoping for a good harvest or worrying about the Lord's taxes. Their voices are soft, like the wind outside, and the words feel special in the dark. Tonight, John is still asleep, so Beatrice sits quietly, letting her thoughts wander. She thinks about tomorrow, more water to carry, more pots to scrub, more weeds to pull, but she doesn't feel worried. The midnight break is calm, and tomorrow feels far away. Beatrice looks at her kids, their faces soft in the dim light. Ella's curls are tangled, her mouth open just a little. Tom is sprawled out, his arm across Will. Will's face is peaceful, like he's dreaming of something good. Beatrice's heart feels full, like it's overflowing with love. Her kids are her reason for working so hard, for getting up every morning before the sun. In the midnight break, she can watch them sleep, their breathing steady, and know they're safe. It's a quiet moment, but it's one of the best parts of her day. Patch the dog stirs at her feet. He sighs, his tail thumping softly against the mattress. Beatrice reaches down to pat him, her hand brushing his shaggy fur. Patch is part of the family, always there with his wagging tail and happy sighs. His warmth against her legs makes the bed feel cozier, like a little piece of the cottage is keeping her company. She listens to his soft breathing, blending with the kids and the fire's crackle. The sounds are gentle, like a song that helps her relax. Old Bess in the corner adds her own noise to the night. Her snuffles are slow and steady, like a heartbeat. Sometimes she shifts, her hooves rustling the straw on the floor. Beatrice listens, feeling like Old Bess is part of the family too. The cow gives milk every day and Beatrice takes care of her just like she takes care of her kids. In the midnight break, Old Bess's sounds are comforting, a reminder that the cottage is full of life even in the dark. The night outside is alive with its own sounds. The wind moves through the village, rustling the straw roofs and shaking the trees. An owl hoots again, its voice soft and far away. A frog croaks by the river, a tiny ribbit that carries through the dark. A dog barks in the distance, sharp and quick, then falls silent. The sounds are small, but they make the night feel big and alive. Beatrice listens, her eyes half closed, feeling like the village is resting with her. The sounds are like a lullaby, wrapping around her and making her feel safe. Sometimes, during the midnight break, Beatrice prays. She whispers to God, her voice so soft it's barely there. She asks for her kids to be healthy, for the garden to grow, for the Lord to be kind. The cottage is dark, but she feels like someone is listening. Praying makes her feel calm, like she's not alone in her worries. She thinks about the church with its wooden cross and flickering candles, and it's like a little piece of that peace is with her now. The midnight break is a good time for praying, when the world is quiet and her heart is still. Other times, Beatrice just sits and listens. The night is full of sounds: the wind, the owl, the frog, the fire, the kids, Patch, Old Bess. They mix together like a gentle song that helps her relax. She doesn't need to do anything, doesn't need to hurry. The midnight break is her time to be still, to let her body and mind rest. She feels the straw mattress under her, the heavy blanket on top, and the warmth of her kids beside her. The cottage is small, but it's full of love, and the night's sounds make it feel like the best place in the world. The midnight break isn't long, maybe an hour or so. Beatrice doesn't know the time, there are no clocks in the village. She just feels the night, the calm, the quiet. When her eyes start to feel heavy again, she knows it's time for her second sleep. She lies back down, the straw crinkling under her. She pulls the blanket tight, tucking it around her kids. Ella shifts, snuggling closer, her breath warm against Beatrice's arm. Tom mutters something in his sleep, and Will snores softly. Patch sighs, his tail thumping once. Old Bess snuffles, her hooves quiet now. The fire pops, the wind rustles, and the night feels soft and alive. Beatrice closes her eyes, her body sinking into the straw. The sounds of the night are still there: the wind, the owl, the fire, the kids. They wrap around her like a blanket of their own. Her day was hard, full of work that never stops. She carried water until her arms ached. She scrubbed pots until her hands were sore. She pulled weeds, chased kids, and kept the cottage going. But now, in the midnight break, she feels calm. The quiet hour gave her a moment to rest, to think, to feel her family close. Sleep is coming again, and it feels like a gentle gift. The village outside is quiet, with just a few sounds drifting through the night. The wind whispers, the owl hoots, the frog croaks. The cottage creaks, the fire crackles, and the kids breathe softly. Beatrice listens, her heart slow and steady. The midnight break is over, but it's left her feeling peaceful, like the night has given her a small, secret gift. She knows tomorrow will be another day of work, but for now, she's here in her bed with her family clothes. The night is calm, the sounds are soothing, and sleep is waiting. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice in her cottage, waking gently in the night. Hear the wind rustling the roof, the fire popping, the kids breathing, and the cow snuffling. Feel the calm of her midnight break, a quiet hour with no rush, no hurry. Her life is brutal, full of work that never stops, but the night is gentle, a time to rest and feel her family close. Let's keep going, nice and slow, as we follow her through the night, learning more about her world in the calm of the dark. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The night is deep and quiet, wrapping the little village in a soft, dark hug. The stars shine bright above, like tiny sparks in a big black sky. The houses with their straw roofs are still, and the sounds of the day, clucking chickens, banging buckets, and kids laughing, are gone. Inside Beatrice's small cottage, the air is cool and smells of smoke and hay. The fire is low, just a few glowing embers, casting a faint red light on the dirt floor. Beatrice lies on her straw mattress, a heavy wool blanket pulled over her, her kids curled up close. Through a crack in the wooden shutter, she can see the stars twinkling like scattered embers from a faraway fire. The darkness is deep, with no city lights to break it. It's as if the sky is tucking the world in, and Beatrice lets herself sink into its stillness, her breathing slow and steady. Let's lie with her, nice and slow, and look at the sky that fills her night with wonder. Beatrice's cottage is small, just one room made of wood and mud. The walls are thick, but cold air sneaks through tiny cracks, making the room chilly. The straw roof rustles when the wind blows, a soft, whispering sound. The dirt floor is cool under her feet, packed hard from years of walking. The fireplace in the middle is the heart of the house, its embers glowing like little stars. Beatrice's bed is in the corner, a wooden frame low to the ground, with a mattress stuffed with straw. The straw crinkles when she moves, and the wool blanket is heavy and scratchy but warm. Her kids, Ella, Tom, and Will, are snuggled close, their small bodies warm and breathing softly. The dog, Patch, is at her feet, his fur soft against her legs. The cow, Old Bess, is in the corner, her slow snuffles like a gentle song. Beatrice is tired, her body heavy from a long day of work. She carried buckets of water until her arms ached. She scrubbed pots until her hands were sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back bending with every tug. She chased her kids, laughing even though she was weary. Now in her bed, she feels that work in every muscle, every bone. But the night is calm, and the sky outside is calling her. She turns her head, her eyes finding the crack in the wooden shutter. It's just a small gap, but through it, she can see the stars, bright and clear, like little lights in the dark. The sky is a marvel, so big and beautiful it makes Beatrice feel small but safe. The stars twinkle, some bright, some faint, scattered across the blackness like seeds tossed on a field. There are no city lights in her world, no glowing signs or street lamps to hide the stars. The darkness is deep, like a soft blanket that covers everything. Beatrice watches the stars, her breathing slow and steady, and it feels like the sky is watching her back. It's as if the stars are tiny eyes, blinking gently, tucking the world in for the night. The crack in the shutter is small, but it's enough to let the sky in. The shutter is made of wood, rough and worn, with gaps where the planks don't fit perfectly. Beatrice could fix it, maybe stuff the crack with straw or cloth, but she doesn't. She likes seeing the stars, even just a little. The crack is like a window to the sky, a secret path that connects her cottage to the big world outside. She lies still, her eyes fixed on the twinkling lights, and lets her mind wander. The stars make her feel calm, like everything is okay, even after a hard day. Sometimes, Beatrice wonders about the stars. She doesn't know what they are, not like we do today. To her, they're part of God's creation, like the sun and moon placed in the sky to light the night. She's heard stories from the priest at church about how the stars are signs or angels watching over the world. She likes that idea that the stars are there to keep her safe. She whispers a little prayer, her voice so soft it's barely there, asking the stars to watch over her kids and her home. The night feels holy, like the sky is a big church with no walls, and Beatrice feels close to something bigger. The stars aren't the only thing in the sky. Sometimes the moon shines through the crack, its light soft and silver. Tonight the moon is just a thin curve, like a smile in the dark. Its light is faint, but it makes the stars seem even brighter. Beatrice watches the moonlight mix with the starlight, painting the edge of the shutter with a soft glow. The light sneaks into the cottage, touching the dirt floor and the edge of her bed. It's like the sky is reaching in, saying goodnight to her family. The night is full of sounds, and they mix with the sight of the stars to make a gentle lullaby. The wind rustles the straw roof, a soft, whispering noise. An owl hoots in the trees, its call low and far away. The fire pops, a tiny spark fatting in the air. Ella breathes quickly, her small body pressed against Beatrice's side. Tom snores softly, his arm thrown over his sister. Will's breathing is slow, like a steady wave. Patch sighs at her feet, his paws twitching in a dream. Old Bess snuffles in the corner, her hooves rustling the straw. These sounds are familiar, like a song Beatrice knows by heart, and they make the stars feel even closer, like they're part of the cottage's night. Beatrice shifts on the mattress, the straw crinkling under her. She pulls the blanket tighter, tucking it around her kids. The wool is heavy, pressing down like a warm hug, and it smells of hay and home. The bed is crowded with Ella, Tom, Will, and sometimes Patch all squeezed together, but it's cozy. Beatrice feels their warmth, their soft breathing, and it makes the night feel safe. She looks at the stars again, their light twinkling through the crack, and it's like the sky is part of her family too, watching over them all. The darkness outside is deep, but it's not scary. In Beatrice's time, there are no bright lights to chase the night away. The village is dark, with only the stars and moon to light the paths. The fields, the trees, the river, they all fade into the blackness, like they're sleeping too. Beatrice likes the dark. It feels soft, like a big blanket that covers the world. The stars are like little holes in that blanket, letting light peek through. She watches them twinkle, her eyes heavy, and feels like the sky is tucking her in, just like she tucks in her kids. Sometimes, during the night, Beatrice wakes for her midnight break. She might sit up, check the fire, or whisper to her husband, John. But tonight, she's just lying there, gazing at the stars. The midnight break is part of segmented sleep, when people sleep in 2 parts with a quiet hour in between. Beatrice doesn't always wake, but when she does, the stars are there, shining through the crack. They make the midnight break feel special, like a secret moment between her and the sky. She doesn't feel rushed or worried. The night is calm, and the stars are steady, like friends who never leave. Beatrice thinks about her day as she watches the stars. She carried water from the well, her arms straining under the heavy buckets. She scrubbed pots until her hands were red and sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back aching with every bend. She chased her kids, laughing even though she was tired. The work was hard, but it was for her family, and that makes it worth it. Now under the stars, she feels proud. Her kids are safe, the cottage is warm, and there's food for tomorrow. The stars seem to nod, twinkling brightly, like they're saying she did a good job. The sky is a comfort, a reminder that the world is big but kind. Beatrice doesn't know much about the stars, but she feels their beauty. They're always there every night, no matter how hard the day was. She watches them twinkle, some bright, some faint, and it's like they're telling her to rest. Her breathing slows, matching the rhythm of the night. The wind rustles, the fire pops, the kids breathe, and the stars shine. It's a gentle song, a lullaby that wraps around her and makes her feel safe. Sometimes, Beatrice tells her kids stories about the stars. She says they're lanterns hung by angels or sparks from God's fire. Ella loves these stories, her big eyes wide as she listens. Tom asks if he can catch a star, and Beatrice laughs, saying they're too high but always watching. Will, the quiet one, just listens, his face thoughtful. In the midnight break, Beatrice thinks about those stories, and they make her smile. The stars feel like part of her family, like they're listening to her stories too. The crack in the shutter lets in more than just light. It lets in the night, the cool air, the feeling of the sky. Beatrice can feel a tiny breeze through the gap, soft and cold on her face. It's like the sky is breathing with her, sharing its calmness. She doesn't mind the chill. The blanket is warm, her kids are close, and the stars are bright. The breeze carries the smell of grass and earth, mixing with the smoke and hay in the cottage. It's a smell that feels like home, like the village and the sky are one big place where Beatrice belongs. The night sky is different every night, but always beautiful. Sometimes the moon is full, round, and bright, lighting up the village like a silver lamp. Sometimes it's just a thin curve, like tonight, barely there but still special. The stars change too, moving slowly across the sky. Beatrice doesn't know why, but she likes watching them shift. Some nights a star falls, streaking across the sky like a spark. When that happens, Beatrice makes a wish, hoping for a good harvest or healthy kids. Tonight, the stars are steady, twinkling softly, and she feels like they're enough just as they are. The cottage is full of its own sounds, and they mix with the sky's quiet beauty. The wind whispers through the straw roof, a soft, rustling noise. The fire crackles, a gentle pop now and then. Ella murmurs in her sleep, her voice sweet and small. Tom snores, Will breathe slowly, and Patch sighs at her feet. Old Bess snuffles in the corner, her hooves quiet on the straw. Outside, an owl hoots, its call low and gentle. A frog croaks by the river, a tiny ribbit in the dark. The sounds are like a song, and the stars are the light that goes with it, making the night feel alive and calm. Beatrice's bed is crowded, but it's the perfect place to watch the stars. Ella's head is on her arm, warm and heavy. Tom's arm is across her, his breathing steady. Will is curled up on the edge, his face peaceful. Patch's fur brushes her legs, and his soft sighs add to the night's song. The straw mattress crinkles when she shifts, and the wool blanket is heavy, keeping out the cold. Beatrice feels like she's part of the sky, like the stars are shining just for her and her family. The crack in the shutter is small, but it's enough to make her feel connected to the big, beautiful world outside. The night is a time for rest, but also for dreaming. Beatrice's eyes are heavy, but she keeps them open a little longer, watching the stars. She dreams of simple things: a good harvest, healthy kids, a warm winter. The stars seem to listen, their light steady and kind. She feels like they're promising her that tomorrow will be okay, that her work will keep her family safe. The sky is a marvel, a big, beautiful thing that makes her small life feel important. As Beatrice watches the stars, her breathing slows even more. Her body is sinking into the straw, the blanket heavy and warm. The sounds of the night, the wind, the fire, the kids, the owl wrap around her like a soft hug. The stars twinkle, their light coming through the crack, and it's like they're saying good night. Beatrice's eyes close just for a moment, then open again. She doesn't want to stop looking at the sky, but sleep is coming, gentle and quiet, like a friend. The night sky is a gift, a beauty that Beatrice gets to see every night. It's there through the crack in the shutter, shining for her and her family. The darkness is deep, the stars are bright, and the world feels calm. Beatrice's life is hard, full of work that never stops, but the sky is soft, tucking her in with its stillness. She lets herself sink into that stillness, her breathing slow and steady, and the night carries her closer to sleep. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice in her cottage, watching the stars through a crack in the shutter. See the twinkling lights like scattered embers in a deep, dark sky. Hear the wind rustling the roof, the fire popping, the kids breathing, and the owl hooting far away. Feel the calm of the night, the stillness of the sky wrapping around her like a blanket. Her life is brutal, but the sky is gentle, a marvel that makes her feel safe. Let's keep going, nice and slow, as we follow her through the night, learning more about her world and the stars that light it. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The sun has set and the village is quiet, wrapped in the soft darkness of night. The stars twinkle above, and the straw roofs of the houses glow faintly under the moonlight. Inside Beatrice's small cottage, the air is warm and smells of smoke, hay, and something delicious. The fire in the fireplace burns low, its embers casting a gentle red glow on the dirt floor. Beatrice is tired from a long day of work, carrying water, scrubbing pots, pulling weeds, and chasing her kids. Now as the day ends, it's time for supper, the meal that will fill their bellies before sleep. Supper is simple pottage, a thick stew made of barley, onions, and whatever herbs Beatrice found in the garden. It's warm, filling, and sits heavy in her stomach, coaxing her towards sleep. Sometimes there's a bit of bread, crusty and chewy, dipped in the broth. It's not fancy, but it's enough, and it feels like love. Let's sit with Beatrice and her family, nice and slow, and see what they eat before they climb into bed. The cottage is small, just one room made of wood and mud. The walls are thick, but cold air sneaks through tiny cracks, making the room a little chilly. The straw roof rustles softly when the wind blows, and the dirt floor is cool under Beatrice's feet. The fireplace is the heart of the house, its warm light filling the room. Beatrice's bed is in the corner, a wooden frame with a straw mattress and a heavy wool blanket, but right now it's empty. The family is gathered around a wooden table, worn smooth from years of use. It's not a big table, but it's enough for Beatrice, her husband John, and their 3 kids, Ella, Tom, and Will. The dog, Patch, sits nearby, his tail thumping softly, hopping for a scrap. The cow, Old Bess, is tied up in the corner, her slow snuffles adding to the cozy sounds of the cottage. Beatrice stands by the fire, stirring a big clay pot. The pot hangs over the flames, and inside is the pottage, bubbling gently. Pottage is like a thick soup or stew, and it's what the family eats most nights. It's made of simple things, barley, onions, and herbs from the garden. Sometimes, if Beatrice has them, she adds carrots, cabbage, or a bit of dried peas. Tonight, the pottage is plain but hearty, with barley to make it thick, onions to give it flavor, and a pinch of thyme for a fresh, earthy taste. The steam rises from the pot, filling the cottage with a warm, comforting smell. Beatrice stirs it with a wooden spoon, her hands steady from years of practice. The fire crackles and the pottage bubbles, making a soft, soothing sound that feels like home. The kids are at the table, their faces lit by the fire's glow. Ella, the youngest, swings her legs under the table, her eyes wide with hunger. "Is it ready, Mama?" she asks, her voice soft but excited. Beatrice smiles, her heart warm. Almost, little one, she says, stirring the pot one more time. Tom, who's always moving, fidgets in his seat, tapping his fingers on the table. Will, the oldest, sits quietly watching the fire. John, Beatrice's husband, is there too, his big hands resting on the table. He's tired from working in the fields, but he smiles at the kids, his eyes kind. The family is together, and even though the day was hard, this moment feels special. Beatrice checks the pottage, dipping her spoon to taste it. It's hot and thick, just right. She nods, satisfied, and starts to serve. She scoops the pottage into wooden bowls, one for each person. The bowls are simple, carved from wood with a few scratches from years of use. She fills Ella's bowl first, making sure it's not too full so it won't spill. Ella claps her hands, her curls bouncing. Beatrice gives Tom and Will their bowls next, then one for John. Finally, she fills her own bowl, but it's smaller. She always makes sure the kids have enough, even if it means she eats less. The pottage steams in the bowls, and the smell fills the cottage, warm and inviting. There's bread tonight, which makes supper even better. Beatrice baked it earlier, a crusty loaf made from barley and rye flour. The bread is heavy and chewy, not soft like the bread we have today, but it's delicious. She cuts it into thick slices with a knife, her hands careful. The crust crackles as she slices, and the inside is dense with a rich, earthy smell. She gives each person a slice, and Ella giggles as she grabs hers, already tearing off a piece. Beatrice smiles, watching her kids. The bread isn't fancy, but it's a treat, something to dip in the pottage and make the meal feel full. The family sits close at the table, their bowls in front of them. Beatrice says a quick prayer, her voice soft. "Thank you, God, for this food in our home," she says, and the kids mumble along, their heads bowed. John nods, his face serious. The prayer is short, but it feels important, like a way to say thank you for the meal. Then everyone starts to eat. The cottage is filled with the sounds of supper, spoons scraping bowls, the soft crunch of bread, and Ella's little hum as she tastes the pottage. Patch sits by the table, his eyes big and hopeful, and Beatrice tosses him a small piece of bread. His tail wags and he crunches happily. The pottage is warm and thick, sticking to the spoon as Beatrice takes a bite. It's not spicy or fancy, but it's good, with the barley soft and the onions sweet from cooking. The thyme gives it a fresh taste, like the garden in summer. Beatrice chews slowly, feeling the warmth spread through her body. The pottage sits heavy in her stomach, like a cozy weight that makes her feel full and sleepy. She dips her bread in the broth, the crust soaking up the liquid. The bread is chewy with a hard crust that cracks when she bites it. It's simple food, but it's enough, and it feels like love. Ella eats quickly, her small hands holding the spoon tightly. "It's good, Mama," she says, her mouth full. Beatrice laughs softly, brushing a curl from Ella's face. Tom eats like he's in a race, scooping pottage and tearing bread with big bites. "Slow down, Tom," John says, his voice deep but kind. Tom grins, his face smudged with broth, and slows down a little. Will eats quietly, dipping his bread carefully, his eyes on his bowl. John eats steadily, his big hands making the spoon look small. Beatrice watches them, her heart full. Feeding her family is hard work, but seeing them eat makes it worth it. The pottage is made from things Beatrice grew or gathered. The barley comes from the fields where she and John helped with the harvest. The onions and herbs are from her garden, the small patch of dirt she tends every day. She works hard to make sure the garden grows, pulling weeds and watering the plants. The pottage is plain, but it's special because it comes from her love and care. Every bite is a reminder of her work, of the seeds she planted and the plants she helped grow. Beatrice feels proud, knowing she's keeping her family strong. Sometimes supper is different. If they're lucky, there might be a bit of cheese made from old Bess's milk, or maybe a piece of dried fish traded with a neighbor. But most nights it's pottage and bread, and that's okay. The family doesn't need fancy food to feel happy. The warmth of the meal, the fire's glow, and the sound of everyone eating together make the cottage feel like the best place in the world. Beatrice takes another bite, the pottage warming her from the inside, and she feels thankful for what they have. The bread is a big part of supper. Beatrice spent hours making it, grinding barley and rye into flour with a stone called a quern. Her arms ached from turning the stone, but the flour was worth it. She mixed it with water and a pinch of salt, kneading the dough until it was smooth. Then she let it rise by the fire, covered with a cloth, before baking it on a flat stone. The bread is crusty on the outside, chewy on the inside, and it tastes like the earth and the fire. Beatrice watches Tom dip his bread in the pottage, soaking up the broth, and she smiles. The bread is her gift to her family, a way to make supper special. The kids finish their bowls, their faces happy and full. Ella's bowl is almost empty and she holds it up proudly. "All done," she says, and Beatrice claps softly. Tom leans back, patting his stomach, and Will wipes his mouth with his sleeve. John finishes his pottage, his bowl clean, and nods at Beatrice. "Good meal," he says, his voice quiet but warm. Beatrice feels a glow in her heart, like the fire's light is inside her. Feeding her family is one of her biggest jobs, and their smiles make it feel like she's doing it right. After supper, Beatrice clears the table. She stacks the wooden bowls, her hands moving slowly because she's tired. The spoons go in a pile and she'll wash them tomorrow. The leftover pottage stays in the pot, covered with a cloth to keep it safe. There's not much left, but it'll be good for breakfast, maybe with a bit more water to thin it out. Beatrice is careful with food, nothing goes to waste in her house. She learned that from her mother, who taught her to stretch every meal as far as it could go. The kids are sleepy now, their eyes heavy from the warm food. Ella yawns, her small hand covering her mouth. Tom slumps in his seat, his energy gone. Will rubs his eyes, trying to stay awake. John stands, stretching his arms, and helps Beatrice move the table to the side. The cottage is small, so they push the table against the wall to make room for bedtime. Hatch follows them, his tail wagging, hopping for one more scrap. Beatrice pats his head, her hand gentle, and he curls up by the fire, content. Beatrice helps the kids get ready for bed. She wipes Ella's face with a damp cloth, cleaning off the broth. Tom grumbles but lets her wipe his hands. Will is already climbing onto the bed, his movements slow. The bed is in the corner, a wooden frame with a straw mattress and a heavy wool blanket. The straw crinkles as the kids settle in, their small bodies curling up together. Beatrice tucks the blanket around them, making sure they're warm. The pottage and bread sit heavy in their stomachs, coaxing them towards sleep. Ella's eyes close, her breathing soft. Tom mutters something about a stick, then goes quiet. Will is already asleep, his face peaceful. John sits on the edge of the bed, his big frame making the straw crinkle. He looks at Beatrice, his eyes soft. "You worked hard today," he says, his voice low. Beatrice smiles, her heart warm. "So did you," she says, and they share a quiet moment, the fire's glow lighting their faces. John lies down, his body taking up space at the edge of the bed. Beatrice climbs in beside him, the straw crinkling under her. Hatch sneaks onto the bed, curling up at her feet, his fur warm. Old Bess snuffles in the corner, her slow breaths part of the cottage's night song. Beatrice lies back, the wool blanket heavy and warm. The pottage sits in her stomach, a cozy weight that makes her feel full and sleepy. She thinks about the meal, the barley and onions, the thyme from her garden, the crusty bread she baked. It's not fancy, but it's enough, and it feels like love. The cottage is quiet, with just the crackle of the fire and the soft breathing of her family. The smell of pottage lingers, mixing with the smoke and hay. Beatrice closes her eyes, her body sinking into the straw, and the night feels calm and safe. The supper was simple, but it was special because it brought the family together. Beatrice worked hard to make it, from growing the onions to baking the bread. Every bite was a piece of her love, a way to care for her kids and husband. The pottage and bread filled their bellies, making them warm and sleepy, ready for the night. Beatrice's life is hard, full of work that never stops, but moments like supper make it worth it. The meal is a reminder that she's keeping her family strong, even when the days are tough. The night outside is quiet, with just a few sounds drifting through the dark. The wind rustles the straw roof, a soft whisper. An owl hoots in the trees, its call gentle and far away. The fire pops, a tiny spark fatting in the air. Beatrice listens, her breathing slow and steady. The pottage and bread are doing their job, coaxing her towards sleep. Her kids are close, their warmth like a little fire. Hatch's fur brushes her feet, and old Bess's snuffles fill the air. The cottage is small, but it's full of love, and supper made it feel like home. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice and her family eating supper. See the steaming pottage, the crusty bread, the wooden bowls on the table. Hear the spoons scraping, the fire crackling, the kids laughing. Feel the warmth of the meal, the heavy, sleepy feeling it brings. Her life is brutal, full of work that never stops, but supper is a moment of love, a simple meal that fills the heart. Let's keep going, nice and slow, as we follow her through the night, learning more about her world and the food that brings her family together. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The night has settled over the village, soft and dark, like a big blanket pulled over the world. The stars twinkle high above, and the straw roofs of the houses are quiet under the moonlight. Inside Beatrice's small cottage, the air smells of smoke, hay, and the pottage they ate for supper. The family is getting ready for bed, their bellies full and their eyes heavy. The fire in the fireplace, which has been burning all day, is low now, just a few glowing embers. Before bed, Beatrice banks the fire, piling ashes over the embers to keep them alive until morning. The glow fades, casting soft shadows on the walls. It's a signal to everyone in the cottage, time to rest. The room grows cooler, quieter, and the world feels ready to pause. Let's follow Beatrice, nice and slow, as she tends the fire and helps her family settle into the night. The cottage is small, just one room made of wood and mud. The walls are thick, but cold air sneaks through tiny cracks, making the room chilly as the night deepens. The straw roof rustles softly when the wind blows, like a whisper from the stars. The dirt floor is cool under Beatrice's feet, packed hard from years of footsteps. In the middle of the room is the fireplace, the heart of the cottage. It's where Beatrice cooks, warms the house, and gathers her family. The fire has been burning all day, its flames dancing as she made pottage and baked bread. Now, it's time to let it rest, just like the family. Beatrice stands by the fireplace, her body tired from a long day. She carried buckets of water until her arms ached. She scrubbed pots until her hands were sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back bending with every tug. She chased her kids, laughing even though she was weary. Supper is done and the wooden bowls are stacked by the table. Her kids, Ella, Tom, and Will, are climbing into bed, their voices soft and sleepy. Her husband, John, is sitting on the edge of the bed, his big hands resting on his knees. The dog, Patch, is curled up near the fire, his fur warm from the heat. The cow, Old Bess, is in the corner, her slow snuffles adding to the quiet. Beatrice takes a deep breath, the smell of smoke and hay filling her nose, and turns to the fire. The fire is low, just a small pile of embers glowing red and orange like little stars in a bed of ash. The flames are gone, but the embers are still alive, warm and bright. If Beatrice lets them die, the cottage will get too cold, and starting a new fire in the morning will be hard. She kneels by the fireplace, her knees pressing into the dirt floor. Her hands are rough from work, but they move carefully, knowing exactly what to do. She picks up a small wooden shovel, its handle worn smooth from years of use, and scoops a pile of ashes from the edge of the fireplace. The ashes are gray and soft, still warm from the fire. Beatrice sprinkles the ashes over the embers, covering them like a blanket. She moves slowly, making sure the ashes are even, not too thick. The embers glow through the ashes for a moment, their light dimming as the pile grows. She adds more ashes, her hands steady, until the embers are hidden. This is called banking the fire, a way to keep the embers alive without letting them burn too fast. The ashes trap the heat, keeping the embers warm until morning. Beatrice knows how important this is. If the fire goes out, the cottage will be cold, and her family might wake up shivering. As she banks the fire, the glow fades and the room grows darker. The soft red light that lit the cottage is almost gone, replaced by faint shadows that dance on the walls. The shadows move slowly like leaves swaying in the wind, and they make the room feel calm. Beatrice watches the shadows, her eyes heavy. The fading light is a signal to the household, time to rest. The kids are in bed now, their small bodies curled up under the wool blanket. Ella is snuggled close to Tom, her curls spilling over his arm. Will is on the edge, his breathing slow and steady. John is lying down, his big frame making the straw mattress crinkle. Patch shifts near the fire, his tail thumping once, then going still. Beatrice stands, brushing the ashes from her hands. The room is cooler now without the fire's warmth, but the embers are safe, ready to be stirred back to life in the morning. She takes a moment to look around the cottage. The wooden table is pushed against the wall, the bowls stacked neatly. The pot of pottage is covered with a cloth, ready for breakfast. The bed in the corner is full, her family safe and warm. The cottage is small, but it's home, and Beatrice feels proud of keeping it going, even when she's tired. She walks to the bed, her steps slow and quiet. The dirt floor is cool under her feet, and the air smells of smoke and hay. The straw mattress crinkles as she climbs in, pulling the heavy wool blanket over her. The blanket is rough but warm, and it smells like the sheep it came from. Ella shifts, snuggling closer, her small body warm against Beatrice's side. Tom mutters something in his sleep, maybe about a stick or a chicken, and Beatrice smiles. Will's breathing is steady, like a gentle wave. John is next to her, his deep breaths adding to the quiet. Patch sneaks onto the bed, curling up at her feet, his fur soft and warm. Old Bess snuffles in the corner, her hooves rustling the straw. The cottage is quieter now, without the fire's crackle. The wind rustles the straw roof, a soft whispering sound. An owl hoots far away, its call low and gentle. The shadows on the walls are faint, barely moving in the dim light of the embers. Beatrice lies back, her body sinking into the straw. The pottage from supper sits heavy in her stomach, cozy and warm, coaxing her towards sleep. The fatting fire, the quiet cottage, and the soft sounds of her family make the world feel ready to pause. She closes her eyes, her breathing slow and steady, and lets the night wrap around her. Banking the fire is one of Beatrice's last tasks of the day, a small but important job. She's done it every night for years, ever since she was a girl helping her mother. The fire is the heart of the cottage, and keeping it alive is part of keeping her family safe. In the morning, she'll stir the embers, add new wood, and bring the fire back to life. But for now, it's resting just like she is. The ashes hold the heat, the embers glow faintly, and the cottage settles into the night. Beatrice thinks about her day as she lies there. She carried water from the well, her arms straining under the heavy buckets. She scrubbed pots until her hands were red and sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back aching with every bend. She chased her kids, laughing even though she was tired. Supper was simple pottage and bread, but it filled their bellies and brought them together. Now, with the fire banked and the cottage quiet, she feels proud. Her work is hard, but it keeps her family warm, fed, and safe. The fatting glow of the fire is like a nod from the day, saying she did well. The room grows cooler as the fire's warmth fades. Beatrice pulls the blanket tighter, tucking it around her kids. Ella's foot sticks out, and she gently covers it, making sure her little girl is warm. The straw mattress is lumpy in places, and sometimes a sharp piece of straw pokes through, but Beatrice is used to it. She shifts to find a softer spot, the straw crinkling under her. The blanket is heavy, pressing down like a warm hug, and it keeps the cold away. The cottage is chilly, but the bed is cozy, with her kids' warmth and the blanket holding them close. The sounds of the night are soft, like a lullaby for the cottage. The wind whispers through the straw roof, a gentle rustling noise. The owl hoots again, its voice far away but clear. Old Bess snuffles in the corner, her breath slow and steady. Patch sighs in his sleep, his tail thumping softly against the mattress. Ella murmurs, her voice sweet and small, maybe dreaming of a butterfly. Tom snores, and Will's breathing is calm. John's deep breaths add a low rumble to the night. The sounds mix together, wrapping around Beatrice like a soft blanket. They make her feel safe, like the cottage is a little world where her family is okay. The shadows on the walls are gentle, moving slowly in the faint light of the banked fire. They're like ghosts of the day, soft and quiet, fatting as the embers dim. Beatrice watches them, her eyes heavy. The shadows make the cottage feel calm, like it's ready to rest too. The wooden walls creak a little when the wind pushes against them, a soft, groaning sound. The dirt floor is silent, but sometimes a pebble shifts, making a tiny crunch. These sounds are part of the cottage's night song, a quiet hum that helps Beatrice relax. Banking the fire is more than just a chore. It's a way to end the day, to tell the family it's time to sleep. Beatrice learned it from her mother, who showed her how to pile the ashes just right. She's taught Will, her oldest, how to do it too, and sometimes he helps, his small hands careful with the shovel. Ella and Tom are too young, but they watch, their eyes big in the firelight. Beatrice likes passing on these skills, knowing her kids will carry them into their own lives. The fire is a part of their family, and banking it is a way to care for it, just like she cares for her kids. The cottage is full of memories, and the fire holds many of them. Beatrice remembers sitting by it as a girl, listening to her mother tell stories. She remembers cooking her first pottage, burning it a little but laughing with her family. She remembers John carving the wooden table, his hands strong and steady. The fire has warmed them through cold winters, cooked their meals, and lit their nights. Banking it now feels like saying goodnight to those memories, letting them rest until morning. Beatrice smiles, her heart full, as she thinks of the fire's place in her life. The night outside is quiet but not silent. The wind moves through the village, rustling the straw roofs and shaking the trees. An owl hoots its call soft and low. A frog croaks by the river, a tiny ribbit in the dark. A dog barks in the distance, sharp and quick, then falls silent. The sounds are small, but they make the night feel alive. Beatrice listens, her breathing slow, feeling like the village is resting with her. The banked fire, the fatting shadows, and the quiet sounds make the world feel ready to pause, like it's holding its breath until morning. Beatrice's bed is crowded, but it's the coziest place in the cottage. Ella's head is on her arm, warm and heavy. Tom's arm is across her, his breathing steady. Will is curled up on the edge, his face peaceful. Patch's fur brushes her legs, and his soft sighs add to the night's song. John is next to her, his big body warm and solid. The straw mattress crinkles when anyone moves, and the wool blanket is heavy, keeping out the cold. Beatrice feels like she's wrapped in love, with her family close and the fire banked for the night. The pottage from supper is still warm in her stomach, a cozy weight that makes her sleepy. The bread, crusty and chewy, filled her up, and now her body is ready to rest. Beatrice closes her eyes, the shadows fatting in her mind. The cottage is cooler, quieter, and the world feels calm. The bank fire is a promise that morning will come with new warmth and new work. But for now, Beatrice is here in her bed with her family and the soft sounds of the night. Sleep is coming, gentle and quiet, like a friend. The fire's final flicker is a signal, not just to the family but to Beatrice herself. It's time to let go of the day, to rest her tired body and mind. She knows tomorrow will bring more work, more water to carry, more pots to scrub, more weeds to pull. But the banked fire, the fatting glow, and the quiet cottage make tomorrow feel far away. Beatrice's life is hard, full of work that never stops, but moments like this, when the fire is banked and the shadows dance, make it worth it. The cottage is small, but it's full of love, and the night is a gentle pause before the next day begins. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice banking the fire. See the ashes piling over the embers, the glow fatting, the shadows dancing on the walls. Hear the wind rustling the roof, the owl hooting, the kids breathing, and the cow snuffling. Feel the calm of the cottage, the quiet signal to rest as the world pauses for the night. Her life is brutal, but the fire's final flicker is a moment of peace, a promise of rest. Let's keep going, nice and slow, as we follow her through the night, learning more about her world and the quiet that holds her close. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The night is soft and dark, wrapping the village in a quiet hug. The stars twinkle above, and the straw roofs of the houses are still under the moonlight. Inside Beatrice's small cottage, the air smells of smoke, hay, and the pottage they ate for supper. The fire is banked, its embers hidden under a pile of ashes, casting just a faint glow. Beatrice is tired from a long day of work, carrying water, scrubbing pots, pulling weeds, and chasing her kids. Now, as the day ends, she moves slowly, doing her nightly rituals. She folds a cloth, checks the door latch, and brushes crumbs from the table. These small acts are her way of saying goodnight to the day. She tucks the children's blankets tighter, her hands gentle, her movements soft and deliberate, like a dance she's done 1,000 times. Let's follow Beatrice, nice and slow, as she moves through her cottage, finishing the day with care and love. The cottage is small, just one room made of wood and mud. The walls are thick, but cold air sneaks through tiny cracks, making the room chilly. The straw roof rustles when the wind blows, a soft, whispering sound. The dirt floor is cool under Beatrice's feet, packed hard from years of walking. The fireplace, the heart of the cottage, is quiet now, its glow dimmed by the ashes. The wooden table, where the family ate supper, is pushed against the wall. The bed is in the corner, a wooden frame with a straw mattress and a heavy wool blanket. Beatrice's kids, Ella, Tom, and Will, are climbing into bed, their voices soft and sleepy. Her husband, John, is sitting on the edge, his big hands resting on his knees. The dog, Patch, is curled up by the fire, his fur warm. The cow, Old Bess, is in the corner, her slow snuffles part of the night's quiet song. Beatrice moves slowly, her body heavy from the day's work. Her arms ache from carrying buckets of water. Her hands are sore from scrubbing pots. Her back hurts from bending over in the garden. Her feet are tired from standing and chasing her kids. But these nightly rituals are gentle, a way to end the day with calm. She starts by folding a cloth, a small piece of linen she used to wipe the table after supper. The cloth is rough, with a few stains from pottage, but it's clean enough. She folds it carefully, her hands moving in a slow, steady rhythm. She smooths the edges, making the cloth neat, and sets it on a wooden shelf by the table. This small act feels like putting the day in order, like saying the cottage is ready for rest. Next, Beatrice checks the door latch. The door is made of wood, heavy and worn, with a simple iron latch to keep it closed. She walks to it, her steps quiet on the dirt floor. The latch is a little loose, but it holds. She lifts it, then lets it fall, hearing the soft clunk that means the door is secure. She pushes the door gently, making sure it's tight against the frame. The night is safe, but checking the latch makes Beatrice feel better, like she's keeping her family protected. The wind whispers outside, rustling the straw roof, but the door holds firm. She nods, satisfied, and turns back to the cottage. The table still has a few crumbs from the bread they ate at supper. Beatrice brushes them off with her hand, her fingers sweeping the rough wood. The crumbs fall to the dirt floor where Patch might sniff them later. She smooths the table's surface, her touch light, like she's saying goodnight to the place where her family shared their meal. The table is old, carved by John when they were first married, and it's full of scratches and marks from years of use. Beatrice loves it because it's where her family comes together. Brushing the crumbs feels like cleaning up the day, making the cottage tidy for the night. With the table clear, Beatrice looks around the cottage. The wooden bowls from supper are stacked neatly, ready to be washed tomorrow. The pot of pottage is covered with a cloth, its contents saved for breakfast. The fire is banked, the embers safe under the ashes. Everything is in its place and the cottage feels calm. Beatrice's rituals are small, but they matter. They're her way of saying the day is done, that the work is finished, and that it's time to rest. She moves slowly, her body tired but her heart full, knowing her family is safe and warm. Now it's time to tuck in the kids. Beatrice walks to the bed where Ella, Tom, and Will are settling in. The straw mattress crinkles as they move, finding their spots. The wool blanket is heavy, but it's not quite covering everyone. Beatrice kneels by the bed, her hands gentle as she pulls the blanket tighter. Ella is in the middle, her small body curled up like a kitten. Beatrice tucks the blanket around her, making sure her little arms and legs are covered. Ella murmurs, her eyes closed, maybe dreaming of a butterfly. Beatrice smiles, brushing a curl from Ella's face. Tom is next to Ella, sprawled out with his arms and legs everywhere. His blanket has slipped, leaving his shoulder bare. Beatrice pulls it back, tucking it under his chin. Tom mutters something about a stick, his voice sleepy, and Beatrice chuckles softly. She smooths the blanket, her hands careful not to wake him. Will is on the edge, his body curled up to make room for his siblings. His blanket is neat, but Beatrice checks it anyway, tucking it tighter around his feet. Will's breathing is slow and steady, his face peaceful. Beatrice watches him for a moment, her heart warm. Tucking in her kids is one of her favorite rituals, a way to show her love before they sleep. John is already in bed, his big frame making the straw crinkle. He watches Beatrice with quiet eyes, his face soft in the dim light. "Good work today," he says, his voice low and kind. Beatrice smiles, her cheeks warm. "You too," she says, and they share a small, tired smile. John pulls the blanket over himself, settling in next to Will. Beatrice climbs into bed, the straw crinkling under her. She pulls the blanket over her, feeling its heavy warmth. Patch sneaks onto the bed, curling up at her feet, his fur soft and warm. Old Bess snuffles in the corner, her hooves rustling the straw. The cottage is full, cozy, and ready for sleep. Beatrice lies back, her body sinking into the straw. The mattress is lumpy, with a few sharp bits of straw poking through, but she's used to it. She shifts to find a softer spot, the crinkling sound blending with the night's quiet. The blanket is rough but warm, smelling of sheep and hay. The pottage from supper sits heavy in her stomach, a cozy weight that makes her sleepy. The rituals, folding the cloth, checking the latch, brushing the table, tucking the kids, are done, and they feel like a dance, a gentle way to end the day. Beatrice closes her eyes, her breathing slow, and lets the night take over. The cottage is quiet, with just a few sounds to fill the dark. The wind rustles the straw roof, a soft whispering noise. An owl hoots far away, its call low and gentle. The banked fire is silent, but sometimes a tiny pop comes from the embers. Ella breathes quickly, like a little bird, her head on Beatrice's arm. Tom snores softly, his arm across his sister. Will's breathing is steady like a calm wave. John's deep breaths add a low rumble to the night. Patch sighs in his sleep, his tail thumping once. Old Bess snuffles, her breath slow and steady. These sounds are like a lullaby wrapping around Beatrice and making her feel safe. The rituals are Beatrice's way of saying goodnight to the day, but they're also a way to care for her family. Folding the cloth keeps the cottage tidy. Checking the latch keeps them safe. Brushing the table makes the room feel clean. Tucking the kids keeps them warm and loved. Each small act is a piece of her heart, a way to show she cares. Beatrice learned these rituals from her mother, who did the same things every night. She's teaching them to her kids, too. Will sometimes helps with the latch, his small hands careful. Ella watches, her eyes big, learning by seeing. Tom is too busy to notice, but he'll learn one day. The rituals are a chain linking Beatrice to her past and her kids to their future. The cottage is full of memories, and the rituals bring them to life. Beatrice remembers her mother folding cloths, her hands quick and sure. She remembers her father checking the latch, his voice low as he said goodnight. She remembers sitting by the fire as a girl, watching the shadows dance. Now she's the one doing these things, making memories for her kids. The folded cloth, the latched door, the tucked blankets, they're small, but they're part of the cottage's story. Beatrice feels proud, knowing she's keeping that story going, even when she's tired. The night outside is quiet, but not empty. The wind moves through the village, rustling the straw roofs and shaking the trees. An owl hoots, its voice soft and clear. A frog croaks by the river, a tiny ribbit in the dark. A dog barks in the distance, sharp and quick, then falls silent. The sounds are small, but they make the night feel alive. Beatrice listens, her breathing slow, feeling like the village is resting with her. The rituals are done, the cottage is ready, and the world feels calm, like it's pausing for the night. Beatrice thinks about her day as she lies there. She carried water from the well, her arms straining under the buckets. She scrubbed pots until her hands were red and sore. She pulled weeds from the garden, her back aching with every bend. She chased her kids, laughing even though she was tired. Supper was simple pottage and bread, but it filled their bellies and brought them together. The rituals, folding, checking, brushing, tucking, are the last steps, a way to close the day with love. Beatrice feels proud, knowing her work keeps her family safe and warm. The bed is crowded, but it's the coziest place in the cottage. Ella's head is on her arm, warm and heavy. Tom's arm is across her, his breathing steady. Will is curled up on the edge, his face peaceful. John is next to her, his big body warm and solid. Patch's fur brushes her legs, and his soft sighs add to the night's song. The straw mattress crinkles when anyone moves, and the wool blanket is heavy, keeping out the cold. Beatrice feels like she's wrapped in love, with her family close and the rituals done for the night. The pottage from supper is still warm in her stomach, a cozy weight that makes her sleepy. The bread, crusty and chewy, filled her up, and now her body is ready to rest. Beatrice closes her eyes, the quiet cottage fading in her mind. The rituals are like a dance, soft and deliberate, a way to say goodnight to the day. The folded cloth, the latched door, the clean table, the tucked kids, they're small, but they make the cottage feel like home. Beatrice's life is hard, full of work that never stops, but these moments, when the day is done and the night is quiet, make it worth it. The shadows on the walls are faint, barely moving in the dim light of the banked fire. They're like whispers of the day, soft and quiet, fading as the night deepens. Beatrice listens to the sounds, the wind, the owl, the kids, the cow, and feels the world pause. The cottage is cooler now without the fire's warmth, but the bed is cozy, with her family's warmth holding her close. Sleep is coming, gentle and quiet, like a friend. The rituals are done, and Beatrice is ready to let the night take over. So as you lie there, cozy under your blanket, picture Beatrice moving through her cottage. See her folding the cloth, checking the latch, brushing the table, tucking her kids. Hear the wind rustling the roof, the owl hooting, the kids breathing, and the cow snuffling. Feel the calm of her rituals, a gentle dance that says goodnight to the day. Her life is brutal, full of work that never stops, but these small acts are full of love, making the cottage a home. Let's keep going, nice and slow, as we follow her through the night, learning more about her world and the quiet that holds her close. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let her story carry you away. The night is deep and quiet, covering the village like a soft, dark blanket. The stars twinkle high above, tiny lights in a big black sky. The houses with their straw roofs are still, and the sounds of the day, clucking chickens, banging buckets, and kids laughing, are gone. Inside Beatrice's small cottage, the air smells of smoke, hay, and the pottage they ate for supper. The fire is banked, its embers hidden under ashes, casting a faint glow. Beatrice is tired from a long day of work, carrying water, scrubbing pots, pulling weeds, and chasing her kids. Now, as she lies down on her straw mattress, she whispers a small prayer, asking for strength for tomorrow. Sometimes it's just a quiet, "we'll see tomorrow," said to no one in particular. Her voice is soft, blending with the night, and it feels like the world is listening. Let's lie with Beatrice, nice and slow, and hear her final words as the cottage settles into sleep. Cottage is small, just one room made of wood and mud. The walls are thick, but cold air sneaks through tiny cracks, making the room chilly. The straw roof rustles when the wind blows, a soft, whispering sound. The dirt floor is cool, packed hard from years of footsteps. The fireplace, the heart of the cottage, is quiet now, its glow dimmed by the ashes. The wooden table where the family ate supper is pushed against the wall. The bed is in the corner, a wooden frame with a straw mattress and a heavy wool blanket. Beatrice's kids, Ella, Tom, and Will, are curled up close, their small bodies warm and breathing